Hey there, everybody. Hey there, everybody. Hello? Oh, that's the wrong microphone. Hey there, everyone joining us. We are just about to get started with the top 8, getting everything all set up here. It's going to be Steven Holsheiser, 2nd seed, playing Chamimi, versus Charlie D, playing Gil, 7th seed. They have 60 minutes for this match. So we're going to be getting started here in just a minute. We are now live. So it's just me. I'll try to be getting us a second commentator as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Hope you guys enjoy. We had a super excellent. We had a super fun day yesterday. Would you mind plugging it into the power cord, or the power down below? Excellent. Just there's a power strip in the front. This is the more control one. There are 3 Chimimis in this top 8. 1 Gil, 2 Ayus, a Kirik, and a Time Spinning Witch. So very, very interesting set of stuff. And at this point in time, we're going to go ahead. They have 3 minutes. We're going to push it over live over there. These guys have 3 minutes to look at each other's deck lists. And then we go from there. So I think a big card that's going to come into play here potentially is just like the fact that Chamimi is supposed to have a pretty strong matchup against Gil, simply because of the fact that she has a lot of stuff that Gil can't answer. Like the Elephant Rush in particularly is going to be a pretty powerful card, as well as Kurara. So Elephant Rush is the master rune here. We get 3 10-10s, so can't be chased. So lots of awesome stuff that comes out of it. Trying to get everything all set up here. Oh. Thanks for that correction there. Oh, they turn on the light. So I'll have to probably adjust a little bit to make sure that we get the glare corrected. Just everybody want everybody to know. Postboard Black Tears have gears from Gil. I believe they do. I don't have access to the lists right now. It was intentionally off. As long as they're okay with it, it's better if it's off. If they're okay with it. Sweet, they turned my light off.
I mean, these lights, why?
So we're trying to, like I said, we're trying to get a second. Nope, it doesn't have Black Tears. That's not good for Charlie. That's the pretty much way that Gil gets to answer those Karuras.
1 minute left, guys.
1 minute left. So we will have to see how this goes. Oh, there's a main. Oh, okay. A main boarded Black Tears. I think Steven probably sees that and goes, whoa, that's not good.
Might as well. Every time I go to a tournament, there's a card. I'm like, yeah, this is just actually useless. I don't know why I put it in my sideboard.
You know, my entire cycle is like, why am I playing this?
So I think the cards we're talking about here, especially having it in the main board, is actually going to be that Black Tears. 3 minutes is over for these guys already.
You can pull out your deck, shuffle, draw, and mulligan. Do not start the game.
So Black Tears here is this story that Gil gets access to because of the fact that it has the Speaking Stones in it, which just says he gets to wipe the board of all 1-drops. 1-drops and less, and those tokens technically have 0 cost. So that just means that all of these tokens are going to get free, like he's going to play it for 5, that sure is the 3 10-10s, and then they're all just gone for 2. So it's pretty suboptimal. So we have to see if Steven even uses it. until he's potentially being able to set up a protection against Black Tears. It can be canceled just like anything, but it doesn't have quick cast, so it can't be fair spelled, and that's super important here. That actually gives Steven a little bit of an uphill battle because he has to have kind of a hard counter for it as opposed to the fairer spell, which is a little bit easier. So Steven is going to get to choose as he is the second seed, and we'll just have to see how this goes. Like I said, we'll try to get a second commentator in here as we can. Otherwise, it's just going to be me. And so obviously they haven't started their 60 minutes. They're given 3 minutes to look at the deck list, and then they get to randomize because their decks were sorted for deck checks. This is going to be interesting. There's been a lot of talk about like which green ruler is the best, and these two rulers were actually tied in terms of representation in the total decks number for this event. However, let's see if I can get more commentate. Yeah, just get a chair. Brandon Bremont is going to be joining us to commentate the other half of this. That'll be good. We are commentating Charlie on Gil, 7th seed, versus Steven on Chamimi. So, yeah.
All right.
There you go.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning to you, my friend. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. Actually got a good night's sleep finally. So
Excellent.
So maybe I could win some Forcible games today. We'll see.
Yeah, sure.
We'll see.
So this is going to be pretty interesting. So the one thing to note is that Charlie is playing some spice cards that help kind of close out damage very quickly in the form of Ultra Awakening.
Yep.
So just an extra 3,000 damage. And he's also mainboarding 1 Black Tears, which I think really
I think
helps
that
him
is
a lot
absolutely correct.
in this matchup.
Every guild that we've played, like on the ARG testing, we always main 1 Black Tears. Like in Gil, it's just so low equity, right? Like you can always tutor the 1 copy of it, so you're probably not going to see it when games where it doesn't matter, and you'll always see it in games where it does. So it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's also probably playing. He's playing the Aqua Soul version, right?
I believe so.
2 or 3 Aqua Souls.
Correct.
And so, especially against Chamimi, like it'll just never stick a 1-drop, which is great. Awesome. So I haven't actually looked at these deck lists yet. I know Stephanie posted them the other night.
Pulling them up right now.
Is Steven's Chamimi, is it like very quick, like hippos, fairies?
So what we saw yesterday when it was on stream was not that it was like, it did have the fairies and stuff in it. It wasn't sticking them like all the time. Let me see if I can pull up Steven's list.
All right, let's take a look at this deck list here.
4 Lorite, 4 Fairy, 4 Hippo, 3 Mickey, 4 Viola, 300 Eyes 1,
Yeah,
4
so
Disciples.
so this is the aggro version.
This is like the rush down.
So he's probably not playing Winds of Salvation is what I'm getting at, right?
There is no Winds of Salvation because there's 4 Fairer spells, which means that looking and 3 Ruin Stories. So looking at this, it seems like Black Tears is probably always going to resolve.
Right, okay.
I see these, and I think the stones will be in something similar. Not like.
Did you hear what Brandon wanted to do? He wanted to have his rune deck in Ringwood.
I'm gonna say Charlie's probably favored here going into it. The Guild deck is just very strong against anything super aggressive. The Black Tears will always deal with the elephants, and because even if he casts it to deal with the hippos and stuff, he'll just Aqua Soul back the Tears whenever they get it. He'll have to be careful about Viola. Viola can exile the Black Tears, and if he's only playing 1 copy, then the Elephant Rush will resolve, and then that might be a problem for Gil. The Gil, of course, can still Blue Leaf kills an elephant.
Right.
And then you could just loop Arrival of the Hero. Like the Gil even still has outs to the elephants, but that'll be the big way he's going to lose.
Yeah, he's unlike a lot of the Guild's players. We saw only 1 Spiritual Guidance as opposed to like the 2 or 3 that other people have been playing. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But here we go, jumping in. 60 minutes. And there we go. First stone is Spirit Stone into that fairy.
Lost Isle. There you go.
That card is surprisingly good.
Yeah, especially for these aggressive decks. One of the best turn ones that Charlie can possibly
Yeah,
hope
absolute
for.
awareness. Use the energize for it as opposed to having a white leaf, so that's a little suboptimal, but still good. Oh, hitting the arrival hero off the mill is a little unfortunate.
More targets for Aqua Soul.
Viola.
There's the
He's just
Viola.
going.
All right, so that's going to turn off Aqua Soul until Charlie can answer it.
Yeah. Then swinging in for the 4 damage there.
No, it's going to be 6, right, because of the Viola pump,
Oh, yeah.
I imagine.
Already down to 34. Paying 3, just getting the Leaf Paladin on 2.
Slam Leaf Paladin, love it.
I think that's the right call here.
Oh, for sure. 3-mana draw. I was going to say draw 4, but he must already have the Black Leaf. But 3-mana draw 3 is just insane. That's
but
going to
also a body.
right. That's going to. He might block the Viola here. Probably
Just
not,
as-
actually.
Yeah.
No, well, it makes the Viola not be able to attack because on the crackback, he can -2 the Viola and attack it with the Paladin with the Black Leaf, which is assumed to be in his hand. Charlie gained 6 with White Leaf.
Nice. Excellent. So back up to 40.
And I think
Charlie's playing the set of 2 white leaves and then one of the other 3, which I think is probably the perfect ratio in this meta.
Yep. All right, let's see what Steven's going to do here. So Steven is contemplating whether or not...
Wow.
Ooh.
Spirit. I mean, he can do it this turn for
That is
Spirit
very
Meditation.
aggressive. Yeah, oh, sure, obviously. I don't know what I'm thinking.
You don't have enough pumpkin spice in your system.
I know.
So it's just doing the Forest Meditation just to say, let's draw 3 cards right now and kind of recycle things and see if my hand can be a little bit better fixed.
That was absolutely correct. He needed to do that now because if the guild's ever recovered, then the guild threatens...
a cancel for the Forest.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a Yokai Festival grabbing the 2,000 ones.
Just loading up a board as best it can.
Yeah, as aggressive as possible.
And note that this board has 3 2-drops on it and 1 1-drop, so the Black Tears is not looking very good. There's no final battle for Gil anymore, so this board is really actually just needs to be dealt with organically. So one thing that could happen here, he could attack the Paladin into the Fairy and then have an answer for one of the blockers, yeah. That'll take 2 things off.
Discarding Magic Boomerang at the end of the turn there for hand size. Getting Stone. Another basic wind.
That's unfortunate. That he probably only plays 1 more basic wind, right? So some of his absolute awarenesses are going to be off. Milled one of them, which is nice. Yeah, I'm guessing there's a removal for the 6/6 blocker, or Steven's just going to let this go through. Yeah,
Is actually letting it go through. I think it's pretty good for Charlie just dealing with the fire right now. The blue will to play. That's an excellent card.
Yep, sure.
Just playing the blue leaf out of hand just means he can bounce a 2-drop.
That's right, and that does feel pretty good. I almost wish he had done that
First.
pre-attack. I don't actually know if it's better to bounce and then hit the fairy. Maybe not.
He does have the second Leaf Paladin in hand, which is not good for now, obviously, but it's good for later after he starts recycling. He's going to cast it. That's an interesting decision. Just to grab the white leaf. Just to put a body on board and get white leaf.
No, it's not too
He
bad.
gains 6 life out of it and gets another
yeah.
elemental engrave.
Yeah, it just gets the life, really, and it's another body on the board, which is nice. He might have, I think I saw a Winds of Vitality in Charlie's hand, so if he's got an elemental in yard, the Paladin actually just threatens to kill one of these 100 eyes by blocking and just pumping it.
Sure.
Which in this matchup is probably fine because you're almost certainly not going to burst the Chimimi. You're just going to.
There's a Lorite mill, which is essentially means just drew Lorite for turn since it hit Grave.
Yeah.
That's pretty helpful for Charlie.
Yeah, and when he wins the Vitalities, he'll have wins Absolute in the yard, which is just a Lorite. Not while Viola's on board, though. He still has to deal with the Viola.
We could bounce the Viola back to hand if their Steven decides to play a few more cards, so that's not a perfect fix.
Yeah, I wonder if Charlie was to just
Sandstorm.
sack the blue. Yeah, that's going to kill the blue leaf, so that's going to demand something gets bounced here. I think
Probably the Viola.
so. The problem with the Viola is that he'll get value off the ender trigger again. Like he could give something flying, and then one of them goes over.
Right, but the same thing happens with one of the 100 dice ones.
Right. If he bumps the 100 dice one, then he just plays it, and then the other two get in. So maybe Viola is better. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. I think I hit the Viola here actually. It's probably accurate.
It actually forces Steven to be like more conservative with his turn potentially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is fine too. There's problems either. Okay, it didn't matter. He had the Lorite, so the bounce doesn't do anything, and
then doing another 2 damage with the rapid fire me.
I think the rapid fire me does 4.
So with the 2 that's already there, we had a total of 6.
6, yeah. So he's just going to clear that board. This might prompt Charlie to Winds of Vitality just to get the block through on a 100 eyes one. Yeah, so we're going to see the Winds of Vitality. And then the other one's going to...
Fair spell.
All right, they're all gone. This
Steven
is a very...
Steven just had
has it all. So that's very awesome.
So 6, and then Viola going for another 6. So down to 12. Not a good spot for Charlie to be in at this point.
This is really threatening the flip, too. It's kind of hard for Charlie to flip into this. Steven's still just got such a full grip, too.
And with no
Trying
final
to see
battle anymore,
what
there's
Charlie's
nothing
hand
really
is.
much.
Charlie's got the leaf, which is nice.
He's also got a 5th element, so that turns into a potential removal spell.
Oh, for sure.
Because we know he's sitting on at least 2 elementals, so potentially 3, so that's 9 damage, so that's just as a free kill with one thing. So this could be the answer to the Viola.
Sure. So I think maybe he produces on this side, flips, produces again. 5th element's one of them. I just really need to know what the rest of Charlie's hand is, because I know that there's several leaves in there, right?
Yeah, there's a red and a black.
Okay.
And a white still.
So he really wants to hold on to a red or a black leaf up in case Steven's going to Disciples next turn, and he wants to be able to remove the Lorite.
Right.
Yeah, this is looking like Charlie's going to judge here.
Doing the flip. Did he do the double remove? Yeah, he did.
Oh, so this is risky. This is indicating that he has a way to deal with this board, because now the guild's rested and they can attack into it.
Because what he did was he tapped in response to Judgment, so he could search for the Gentle Breeze Elemental.
Well, luckily the opponent's tapped down, so this indicates to me that Charlie's hand probably has like either multiple 5th elements or arrival. Oh, I see an Aqua Soul there, so that Aqua Soul could be an arrival of the hero.
Just turns into
so you have to kill the Viola first, hope he doesn't hit the arrival with Viola. Oh, it doesn't even matter, because even if he does, then he just chases an Aqua Soul.
With the Aqua Soul, yep, absolutely.
So we're gonna see a 5th element on this Viola. I think is got to be the way Charlie's doing this.
Jeff Finnegan joining us on the Twitch chat. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
You should be asleep. Yep, there's the 5th element.
There's no answer to this. The other guy's tapped out, so it just resolves. Unless,
which is great. This is an
actually, he could chase with the Viola, and then Charlie doesn't even have to reveal any elementals.
Exactly.
Even though
we know
already
did.
Yeah.
And that's the weirdness of 5th element is like you reveal at resolution, and we were talking about this with Dell yesterday, is that it actually kind of can be a little bit of a trap. Because you can kind of like force your opponent, especially when you're playing against like IU or something like that. A 5th element with like a lot of unknown cards in hand can be like, well, does he have enough to kill me? Do I pitch a soul to keep it safe? Like,
what were the targets with Okay, so I think one of them was the Lorite, and he chased that with Lorite's effect. I'm guessing the other one was that which he's now returning.
Yeah.
Okay, so just basically just canceled the Viola entirely, and then he's going to do that on one of these.
to get that off the board.
I really wanted to see like a little bit more. I really hope he has another 5th element because because now Charlie's tapped out.
But Charlie also doesn't have any elementals in grave. But he has.
Right.
Oh no, he does. He still has one. He's gonna banish to produce double green.
So the problem is if Charlie does not have an answer here, then Steven could untap and have a Fair spell and a Lorite's Disciple, and then Gil's dead. Because he can cancel the arrival that Gil is going to play. Oh, he just searched for it. Okay, yeah, perfect. Perfect. And I think those 2 Leaf Paladins over there are removed by Gil, right?
They are correct.
All right.
That's correct. So using the
This
arrival.
is feeling very safe.
Yeah, this is definitely a comeback turn for sure. He still has a white leaf in hand, as far as I know. So he still has access to instant speed, getting that double will off of Gil, and he does have the surge now with Gil. And he's gonna. Oh, and he also used the other one floating to use Gentle Breeze Elemental. So this is the one thing that Charlie's deck has been that's very different is the fact that it only plays the 1 Spiritual Guidance. So it actually makes a lot heavier use of the Gentle Breeze Elementals than other Gil decks do. Which I think actually going into this event was a smart decision. Like having more actual spirit magic elemental cycling. Spiritual Guidance is just a spirit magic, so once it gets to grave, the only thing it's good for is
getting Lorite.
And so for Charlie's deck, he's just like, yeah, well, I'm going to actually be more effective with the Gil flip, not necessarily gaining the life, but I'm going to have this better pool of elementals to be able to make use with Gil, and I think that's absolutely the right decision. So I don't know how. So the Lorite is also just dead. He used the other.
He just wanted to clear the board entirely. Use all of Gil's mana as best he could.
He does have another. He's a Leaf Paladin in hand, so he has access to potentially another 5th element.
This is, man, Steven still has so many cards in hand, though.
Yeah,
that's really the wild part of this. Gil's going to start effectively drawing 2 cards a turn here with his effect. But, man, does Steven's hand just reload so fast with the 0 mana draw 3 on Meditation. Just really pushes games high. And, you know, it's so hard for Gil to just push damage through these boards. Gonna have to keep calling stones. This feels safe.
Is that Aqua Soul, which just turns into another arrival of the
Right.
hero? So
You can't Aqua Soul while Steven's oh no, because we know Gil has a Lorite in hand. So Aqua Soul's safe because even if he Viola and sacks it, then we know that the Lorite resolves. So that's just fine.
Yeah, and Steven does have the Viola in hand there. It's been really nice to see these kind of older cards that kind of had to get cut from the world of competitive meta get to kind of find their place again. Things like Spinning Aqua Soul.
No, Spinning Aqua Soul has been the best blue card in New Frontiers forever, but when have we been able to play blue in New Frontiers?
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like these cards that are very, very competitive.
Well, I've always thought Spinning Aqua Soul is like insane. We played it in back when like Tree was like loosely playable and had blue in it. Yeah. Even though that had like no synergy at all, it was just a very good blue card.
Looks like we have another Leaf Paladin in hand. Oh no, that's the white leaf. Pitch to gain 6, going on back up to 18. So that's the one thing that I've noticed in terms of Charlie's Gil list is it is it's more comfortable, I think, being at low life than I think any of the other Gil lists that I've seen. Like we saw Charlie come back from being at 2 life to win the game with that grand old Ultra Awakening.
Yeah. So the Gil deck can just essentially loop white leaves until the end of time.
Right.
So, like you remove it with the Paladin, you remove Paladin and Leaf with Gil, put them both on the deck. Eventually, you hit the white leaf.
Someone saying he used Gil's effects to tutor twice on his turn. I don't believe that happened.
I certainly didn't see that. You might have been thinking because he tutored with once and then passed and tutored on his opponent's draw step. That might have been what you just saw.
Also the Aqua Soul. Like he played Aqua Soul to bring back Arrival and then tutored Arrival to cast it.
Yeah.
You might have missed something. I don't think Charlie would make a play like that. And
I don't think any of us would. We would all miss it. So yeah, let's get back to that stream here. Can I?
Sure. restriction. My apologies.
No, no problem.
So playing the hard casting the Lorite
I missed
here.
what this Lorite was for.
It's in response to a swing from the 100 Eyes one.
Okay, I wish I knew where this 100 Eyes one was going, because if it was going at Gil, then that would represent a +6/+6 buff, which
He just blocks with the Lorite. Goes in for 4. Down to 14. Down comes the Lorite 7 Disciples.
Yep.
It's only good thing I get the 1 effect out of it, but even that is still very good. Because he can just pick Swiftness.
Come in with it.
I imagine that we probably see the Aqua Soul into the arrival of the hero here, but he also has to be careful because there might be a Viola.
Right,
here.
I don't.
He's like representing potential Viola.
So I
plays.
see 2 5th elements in Charlie's yard. Is there another Spirit Magic?
Does not look like it.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how
So we're
safe
gonna
this
see
Aqua
the
Soul is.
cast out
So he
Aqua
might
Soul.
try to chase Viola to this Aqua Soul, and then
Charlie can use Guild Search to grab Ferris Spell
he could. Yeah, absolutely.
to back it up.
I really enjoy how Steven is.
Oh, he's just gonna
Ooh.
Ferris. Oh, the Ferris Spell.
So I think maybe Gil just finds Fair Spell here. Maybe.
Or just uses a 5th element to kill the
Yeah.
5th element to kill the 7 Disciples if he has 3. Doesn't look like he has 3. Really, ultimately, the
Yeah,
Lorite to
there's-
cancel the Guild Search. A 5th element plus any of the two
And he
two
still has-
elementals engraved.
Charlie has
Actually-
gotten a little bit unlucky in that he has some Ruin Stories in hand and has not hit a Speaker Stone yet. So he's got a dead Ruin Story in hand, which is kind of awkward. Did Charlie have a 5th element in hand? Because if he does, then he can 5th element like one of the 6/6s, and then pick up Lorite with that, and then Lorite the Lorite, let the search resolve, and still Fair Spell. If he has that. Charlie doesn't need to shuffle because the Gil effect puts the 2 on bottom, and Lorite is canceling it right now. So if it cancels, then there's no need to shuffle. Let's see what Charlie does here. I kind of like 5th. I don't know how many elementals in his hand. I think at least 3.
I think he has 2. He has red and black still.
Okay, so maybe...
Which is fine, because it still
Right.
converts to 9 total, because you can 5th element to deal 6 damage, or it still converts to 8. So you do 5th element to 6 damage, and then you can reveal them 6 damage, go back to your, and then pay the other 1 and pitch either the red leaf or the black leaf to deal the extra damage.
Yeah, so, yeah, but the important thing here is it would put another Spirit Magic in the yard for Lorite.
Yep.
So I think... So the Fair Spell is allegedly resolving. Well, of course it will, because he's going to Fair Spell the Lorite one anyway, but... We'll see what Charlie does here. Charlie's got a lot of decisions here to make. And so we were talking about where Gil really is just a pretty hard deck. There's a lot going on with Gil. A lot of outs here. Hard to tell exactly what Charlie's hand is.
Black leaf on the... Gonna pitch them both on the...
Oh, because the Lorite blocked it, so it had 1 damage on it already. So the
He's
3 and
just
the
trying to get it into great. Oh, did he just take the damage then?
must have.
So it's the 7 going in.
Charlie really wants to hit a Speaker Stone here because that Ruined Story is really dead otherwise. Attack the Lorite's Disciple. Fascinating. I'm seeing an Evil Elemental Uprising in Charlie's hand. Okay. Well, the low right block is still pretty good because now the Disciple's not going to really turn on very well.
Yeah, you got it.
So we still have to.
There's nothing I'm doing about
All right. Now we're going to probably Aqua Soul and hit the Disciple. Hit the Disciple with the Arrival.
Getting rid of the Disciples pretty big here. It just gives Charlie some breathing room. Still only being at 7 life means that a single Disciple, like,
Mana's gone.
being at 7 life is not a super great spot for Charlie to be, especially with having nothing on board. And the arrivals have been kind of cycled out at this point.
Yeah, I think the Gill is really in the driver's seat now. And don't let Charlie's 700 life fool you. I mean, Charlie is very much ahead in this game. He doesn't have any elementals removed right now. He really should probably start to exile them. But how many elementals does he have in his yard? I can't really quite tell.
I believe at this point in time it might be none.
It looks like none to me.
There's a white leaf in there.
Oh, is there?
There's one white leaf, it looks like. He's been kind of sitting on it for a while. The 3 top 8, or the 8 top 8 decks are 3 Chimimi, 1 Gil, 2 Ayu, 1 Keurig, and 1 Time Spinning Witch. 5 different rulers represented, with Chimimi being the most at 3.
And then it's all 1-ups, right?
Yeah. 3 2 Ayus, and then 3 1-ups.
Oh.
So Viola canceling the buff trigger from, or low right canceling the buff trigger from Viola. Still swinging in for 400 damage, I believe.
You know what's funny is that wouldn't have even quite been lethal, and a +6/+6 is still lethal. So I like to just go on a 1 there. Unless we have life totals wrong. Oh, here we get a little bit better view of the yard. I don't think he has any elementals in there.
That's not good for Charlie.
No.
Certainly not. I think he's trying to answer the lore.
So he's trying to find a +6/+6 for this fairy, because this fairy is flying, and he's really just hoping that Charlie has no way to tutor for an answer. And at this point, Charlie cannot use Gil's tutor, like search the deck effect,
because he only has,
right.
Doesn't have any elementals.
He's probably just going to try and +6 this fairy. And
oh, he got the Winds of Vitality.
All right,
Digging
Charlie's
the
got to
Spirit
dig
Stone.
for an answer. Misses it entirely.
Misses it, and we go to game 2.
All right, good job, Steven.
So the aggro
Really-
deck getting in. That was, yeah, and there were very several turns in that whole match where Steven just seemed to have all the answers to
Yeah, definitely. And Charlie running out of elementals there was deeply unfortunate. Like, he, really what happened there was, even though Gil, like, kind of draws 2 cards a turn, he does, can't use elementals for forever. And so when Charlie draws 3 for 0, when most of his dudes are replacing themselves or getting bigger value trades, Charlie just like runs out of answers, runs out of gas, and then the incredible card advantage that Shimimi deck assimilates will eventually run him over.
I'm trying to pull up the deck lists here real fast. So for Steven's list, sideboard is 2 Trapmaster Lemuria, which are definitely not going to come in.
Probably
3
not.
Last Days of a Powerless Dragonoid, also not going to come in. 3 Scarlet's Agony, also not going to come in. An Elemental Blast, 2 Karura.
Those are coming in.
2 Black Tears, and 2 Destruction of the Portal.
Of those, I think that just Karura comes
I
in.
think you're right. I think that just
So that's
Karura
not a
comes
very
in.
impressive board, to be honest. Charlie, on the other hand,
There's a lot of gas. The
very likely.
The problem is that they do have to. Well, I guess Charlie's at advantage here if he can close out this game because he has access to White Leaf and they go to sudden death in turns. So Charlie could just like White Leaf spam to have more life. And then looking at Charlie's list, we have 1 Treachery.
Yeah.
One and only Treachery. What color is that?
It's blue. It's blue, 2 colorless. For Resonators you control, get +2/+0. Precision cannot be damaged until end of turn.
Correct.
It's J Resonators.
It's the one with IU stepping on Welser.
That's correct.
3 Scarlet's Agony. Those probably come in. 3 Arrow Trap. Those probably come in. The 2 Evil Elemental Uprising I don't think are needed.
So it cancels Meditation for the stones.
Sure. So those probably do come in. Blue Leaf, White Leaf, and a Last Days of a Powerless Dragonoid. So I imagine Charlie's going to bring in actually a lot of cards here. Potentially more elementals, you think?
Actually, like every card you just named is a potential to come in except for Last Days. Sign me up for the draft. All right.
Yes, yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot of the cards there. The other card that he's playing is a tech card that I think is very silly, but also very cool. Is the One and Only that's brought in for Kill Mirrors.
Yeah.
So like if we both play Guild, then we just play One and Only and kill them both.
Yeah. So the idea about that is that you can be like significantly more aggressive with your Guild tutors, like because you know you have One and Only and they don't. So then you get to just kind of blow them out.
Note the nice wooden floor. Yeah, we are over at Games and Geek's actual store today. Super nice place.
He really is.
I'm glad to be here.
That is a nice looking floor. I didn't even notice that.
Playing in a cabin.
Right. Very aesthetically pleasing.
So yeah, like I was saying before, chat, for those of you who were talking, the idea being here that if Charlie can close game 1 with like a minute left, and that's, I mean, not to say that he should be like, it actually might be a legitimate strategy here in top 8. If he can close the match out with like a minute left, then that means they go to time, probably when they're sideboarding, at which point in time Charlie just has these 3 turns, and then they go to life totals, which this becomes the game of protect the blockers, like just block all the damage that Steven can throw at you, and then just pitch a bunch of White Leafs to be way up on life.
I think they still got plenty of time.
Oh, I definitely agree. But like having gone down game 1, that actually might be a way that Charlie can win this game, because these games can drag out. That actually can be a strategy that Charlie could use to win this game and then push it into game 3, because he does have a lot of anti-aggro cards.
Oh no.
Apparently he
Oh no.
that
Oh god.
can stop the damage, and then he does have free life gain, which
Hey, a Speaker Stone. Charlie was wanting one of those last turn.
we're seeing
And
that
the
first
perfect turn 1. This
Yeah.
is the best turn 1 Charlie can ever hope for, and actually probably the best stone he could have asked for, too.
to get the speaker out of the way.
This
You
is
just have
literally his ideal turn 1.
it's the spinning Aqua Soul there, or the blue
Mills-
will on tap.
You
so
were right about him bringing in the Agony, and it is now in the yard.
well, it's a little unfortunate, but it happens. First turn Speaker Stone and a pass from Steven. So for an aggro deck, that's a little bit of a sad turn 1.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Basic green.
just
Especially
on turn 2, Charlie's looking real dominant again, but we'll see how this goes.
Blue Leaf getting cast just right away. I think that's an absolute great play to make here.
For sure.
Just sticks
Another
out.
Scarlet's Agony in the yard.
So 2 out of the 3 are now gone. Need some of that fireplace backdrop music. A little crackling fire.
Hard agree.
If we don't see a turn 2 play here, what? Okay, we're gonna see a rune. Sandstorm to get rid of the Blue Leaf, which I think
You know,
is a fine
honestly,
play.
Charlie knew about that, so I don't know. Maybe that was a mistake. I forgot about it too, though. So
Well, I think
Can't-
it's fine to let that happen. Because actually, there's still no turn. That was his only play on turn 2 as the aggro deck. That actually is great for Charlie, I think.
I think Charlie just slams the Leaf Paladin here and tries to fight over a Lorite.
Lorite into Lorite.
Fair spell or Lorite for Charlie's Lorite.
Potentially. Nope, it looks like it's going to resolve.
That is very difficult for me to believe. How does Steven not have any play on turn 1 or 2? Okay.
Ruin Story to cancel it unless he pays 1. So there's.
But even so, I thought Steven's hand must just be like full of Lorites and Fair spells, and that's why he didn't have a play. But somehow he both didn't have a turn 1 play and didn't have the ability to fight over this. I thought that was kind of weird.
There's the Fair spell.
Wait, what happened?
There's the 7 Disciples.
Okay, yeah. Oh, 7 Disciples here. Woo! That's pretty big if Charlie doesn't have a 5th element.
He's going to swing into it for the 9, get it off the board, gain 9 life.
Charlie's down to 2 cards in hand. We really wanted that Leaf Paladin to resolve. Yeah, well, this has been a very good clap. Ooh, the Leaf Paladin is going to resolve this time, though, and the Leaf Paladin will get an elemental which can kill the Lorite, so the Disciples won't be turned on.
Using the Spirit Stone before the basic wind because it's the right decision. Leaf Paladin coming in here. Just a card that does so much work. It might be a 3-drop 5/5, but it's just draw 3 cards.
Let's draw 4 cards.
Even, yeah. Just so much value. Blackleaf just now to kill the Lorite.
Yep, can't have that Disciple triggering. We might see Steven do Precision here.
Just to get the Leaf Paladin out? I think you probably do Flying just to go and get the damage in.
I'm not meditating anymore, so what's the matter?
What was the mode? Because he should have said it before he called the stone, but...
The mode... I think they did Flying.
Oh, nope, they forgot.
Isn't it a mandatory trigger that he's allowed to then just kind of arrow trap it because it's flying? So deal 12 damage to it. The Fair spell. I think that's fine. It's only
Steven is very good at having it all. Wait, how did he? He must have just hit that Fair spell because otherwise that.
Yeah, he did the turn after. He did the turn after the first Lorite play. So I think we could potentially see a 5th element here if he has one in hand.
So Steven is getting a little unlucky that he hasn't hit Spirit Stones, and at this point, he's never going to be able to meditation because from here out, it's very unlikely that Charlie ever truly taps out.
Yokai Festival grabbing for 2 of these Thousand-Eyes ones. Just to put bodies on board, I would imagine.
That's right. You just got to put the pressure on. Charlie's still at 39. That needs to get to 0 eventually. And Steven, and every turn that passes, Steven gets farther from winning. So I like this play.
You see Charlie successfully loading up on elementals here.
Yeah, Steven basically never getting to meditation for draw 3 this game is going to definitely impact how this game goes.
Absolutely.
We're going to see a little bit better time from
Swinging
Charlie.
the Paladin into, obviously clearing a Winds of Vitality here, blocking.
Does Charlie probably just red leaves here or something?
Letting it die. I don't know how I agree with that play. There was probably going to be a block. Oh, he's going to do Judgment? Oh, he's searching for Gil instead of... Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is fine. Charlie just must have it all, you know?
Who taps to check? That's not on that.
So we are seeing the Gil flip come out here.
Get it on its right side there.
It has so many with so many elementals removed. There is an evil elemental uprising grave. Looks like he was milled. I'm wondering what... You got 3 floating here. Lots of elementals in hand. So 5th element is very much live. And this is a turn where, because Steven is completely tapped out, that Gil can just kind of do whatever he wants.
Yep.
Searches for the 5th element off the Gill. He's going to get to cast that for free. Kills the right 7 Disciples. He can probably wipe the board here, potentially.
Depending on his hand, it's not unlikely.
5th element. He's going to reveal the 3. Immediately dies. Two floating wills still. So this is the thing that I think I like a lot about Absolute Awareness with the other 2. It's a free ramp, so he doesn't just Stone Call for this turn, which I think is also a great play. The thing about the Gentle Breeze Elemental kind of style that Charlie's using is it lets him continually cycle elementals with Gill the turn that he flips, so he can like safely recycle but also reload his graveyard. We're just going to pitch the red leaf here
now
as well.
We're going to see a very fascinating turn from Steven, where Steven could really have the nuts here. So if Steven has a +6/+6 for this this thing, a Lorite, and a Fader spell, then he will always kill the Gill, assuming the Gill doesn't have any heroes in hand, which we assume he doesn't because he probably would have just used it that turn. So if Steven has exactly that combination of cards, he's going to kill the Gill here, and that'll really put him in
probably
the lead.
Winning the game,
almost certainly.
There's an Elemental Blast. Elemental Blast only hitting Resonators, I believe?
That's correct. Well, even if it didn't, Gill's got barrier.
That's true. Maybe I need some pumpkin spice flowing in my body.
We really do. I did see a +6/+6, though. I think I also saw Arrow Trap in
Charlie's
hand, though. All right, we're thinking. We're thinking.
This is going to be a very, very big turn.
Yes, 5th element reveals it resolution. Gosh, I wish I knew Steven's hand. I really enjoy when Gills die. Let me just say that. Like, I always want to see it. Like someone planted against it, the Gill gets greedy and calls the Gentle Breeze, and then you just get to crack back and kill it. There's actually almost no greater feelings of ecstasy and force of will than that exact sequence of events. And it's very rare since Gil has just so many tools to search and protect itself. But if any deck's going to do it in any position, it's going to be a mono green deck with a 6/6 pump spells and a trillion cards in hand. So let's see it. Steven, pull it together for me. Kick Charlie out here.
Someone calling you so morbid.
Oh, because I said I like the
Gill dying. So we are gonna see the swing.
I mechanically like the Gill dying. Okay. Where's the swing going? Tell me.
It's going to Gill.
It's going to Gill. Oh, it's going to happen. Oh, Charlie's shaking in his boots.
This is going to be a very interesting potential turn of events.
So what does Charlie got? Really just nothing. He's got the Lorite, which almost certainly isn't even going to come into play here. Actually, he could consider playing the Lorite to block.
I mean, then it just gets fair spelled, right?
It would eat the fair spell, yeah, and it would. But if Steven's answer is exactly just fair spell, then at that point, Gil can tutor for
Arrival of the hero and
then that's over. So Charlie really has to read what Steven's got here. Charlie knows that he's only had 2 turns to draw fair spell. Well, actually, even better, he's just going to try to do this before blockers are declared. All right, so he's going to try and dig for Lorite. Doesn't hit it. It's a 100 eyes one, which does not matter at all. And he's got a wind floating.
So the tutor's going to resolve. I imagine we see.
Yeah, so he's going to do all of this before blocks. And then if the arrival doesn't resolve, then he's going to Lorite, and that Lorite is probably going to resolve, which means that I think. I can't see Steven's hand here, but...
So the fair spell for the Arrival of the Hero.
Yep, all right. Now we've probably just got a Lorite that tries to block. No, we're going to see another card first.
Looks like a fair spell.
He just did a fair spell. All right, yeah, this gill's probably living.
So he probably waits until the pump spell gets cast here.
Mm-hmm. Cancel the pump spell.
Well, he's going to cancel the Arrival. Or he's going to cancel the fair spell.
So the Arrival's still trying to resolve them.
Well, doesn't look like Steven has a second backup Ferris
doesn't
wheel.
look
Otherwise,
like
he would
we've
just
got
slam it onto the
anything
table. So would it be a better option to, I think the better play there would have been to see if the +6/+6 got cast and then cast the Ferris spell on that.
I mean, it's all on what you have to guess the opponent has there between Florites and Ferris spells. Oh,
So
whoa.
he's had the Lorite to 7 Disciples that he's just going to pump up with Winds of Vitality. This is the same reason why I think that using it on
Oh my
Seven
god,
is
the
better.
Gil died!
The Gil is dead.
Oh,
That's actually
that might actually just
I think
end
that
the
actually
game.
just locks it, unfortunately.
Oh,
That's why I'm saying I
jeez.
think the better play would have been to, like, if the search
Feeling
resolves,
great right now.
like, you just let the arrival go, and then you try to actually stop the thing that matters the most and steal that resource from Steven, because you know that the 6/6 has to get pumped with the Winds of Vitality to kill the Gil. So then you just, like, you use the Ferris spell. I mean, ultimately, the other play line is, too, is if Steven could, like, sacrifice those 2 creatures and just crash the Lorite 7 Disciples in for 7.
Yeah.
Even if the 6 damage goes through, so then you're like, well, I'll just use it now in case you don't have to pump, and maybe that's your play line. But the problem is just Steven had everything there to kill the Gil. I don't actually think there's a way that Charlie comes back from this.
Yeah, Charlie doesn't have...
Especially with 2 Leaf Paladins RFG.
Right. Charlie doesn't have Karuras, and even if he... I don't think Charlie plays any Karura, does he?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I check.
That's about the only way I can even think of him just, like, randomly pulling this back, but no, it feels bad.
Spiritual Guidance, getting to draw some cards.
Handful of garbage.
Looks like 5, so up to 44. I would like to say that Charlie specifically told me when I told him he was going to be on stream that he doesn't have a stream curse. But both of the past 2 events that he's been in, he's come into top 8 on stream and then lost. So maybe that's different. So that this Lorite 7 Disciples is just going to put in work for pretty much the rest of the game.
Oh, yeah. It's not easy for this to deal with. By the by, Charlie's Arrival of the Heroes are now completely blank. So if he draws them, they are just straight up blank cards.
There, yep. The deck does not have access to any form of white.
Yeah, as much as I love Charlie,
Elemental Blast to just kill the Wool Leaf.
I don't know whether I love Charlie or Gil's dying more, so I don't know whether or not I'm happy
I think
about
we're
this.
swinging in for what, the barrier, right? To get 3,700
Probably.
in. Take him down to 37. I mean, that's the right play, right?
It might have been. It might have been +2. I don't know, depending on what Steven's reading him as having.
There's an arrow trap. Trying to pull up the list for Charlie here to see if there's a potential Karura. I think he went, instead of going the Karura route, he just has Ultra Awakening. So more all-in on Gil. Oh, no, Charlie does play 2 Karura in the main. So the game is not necessarily over. It's still a 12-12
yeah,
flyer.
49 is a lot to get through, and that is a lot of dudes. But Steven is down to 2 cards. Charlie's got some arrow traps. The arrow trap's going to deal with the 6/6. Still hasn't sacked his Spirit Stones. Could...
Well, there is one Spirit Stone. Yeah, Steven sacked a Spirit Stone, but Absolute Awareness just to dig. Using the... I don't know what the... Just to get a Spirit Magic engraved, to have access to more...
Charlie just, I mean, his
Might as well have
embarrassment of riches when it comes to mana, so it's not much of a problem to just tap those 2, and also now you have a Spirit Magic for Lorite, which will maybe block.
Elephant Rush was not used round 1.
Elephant Rush feels pretty safe here since Gil can't just find Black Tears. And even if he does, you know.
Well, with Gil being dead.
Ooh, actually, Flip Chimimi here is another powerful play.
Yeah, absolutely.
He basically needs 5th Element to deal with it.
Charlie cast Rewriting Laws and then cast Riula. Wait a minute.
I actually like Judge Chimimi here. You can't put Charlie on having that. It turns off the arrow trap, which he might not know about, or it's open deck list, so he does know about it. Yeah, Flip Chimimi here is powerful.
Yeah. So now everything is
+4,
now a powerhouse.
+4, right? Everything's just huge.
The Lord 7 Disciples
Yeah,
just
it's a
swinging into
10-10
11.
and 8-8 and 11-11 now. Yeah. This is
Blocks
pretty
the
much
Lorite.
over. He's not going to be able to deal with this Chimimi.
So the arrow trap can't answer. Oh, he's going to take it. So just taking the 8 damage. Down to 31. Or down to 29. Then swinging for another 10.
Sure, how many elementals does he have? He can't even kill the Chimimi with it if he draws a 5th element here. There's
Just winning
Aqua Soul.
Aqua
I mean, that's got to be among his better draws. Let's see what's in his yard.
Choosing not to use it before upkeep.
Yeah, he's just got enough mana. He also has the next 3 cards on the top of his deck if he needs it. So actually, I believe he's got a 5th element in the yard, so he could 5th element the Chimimi, which might, you know, buy him a little bit of time. If he even has the elementals or is willing to like just sack the Spirit Stones for the elementals.
Yeah, Steven feeling pretty comfortable in this position because the problem is with Lorite 7 Disciples being so big because of the Chimimi, you have to kind of kill Chimimi first. But the problem is then Lorite 7 Disciples is still on the board, and it's going to take a lot to kill Chimimi, and then even more to kill 7 Disciples. Meanwhile, 7 Disciples is just going to keep coming in over and over and over again.
I think, yeah, he's just digging for elementals, and he found 2 of them, so. But, yeah, Chimimi's still a 10-10, so.
We'd have to have double 5th element to kill both.
Or 4 elementals. And I think Charlie found 2 of them, which is, I mean, above average number to hit, but.
Leaf Paladin will convert into 2 more elementals because Blue Leaf has already been gone, and Red Leaf, so he can just get Black Leaf out of it.
Oh, yeah, so he could 5th element and then Black Leaf the Chimimi.
If he has 2 others in hand.
Yeah. Charlie's about to mill out.
Yeah, Charlie definitely in a real danger of potentially decking out of here if he can't close. And with 40,000.
49,000.
4,900 life. Is pretty hard. Is pretty big amount for him to try to deal with before he mills out, especially considering how his ruler is now removing 1 card per turn.
Yep, of course. I'm surprised that Charlie's letting him recover before doing all of this. I don't really think he stands to gain much since Kill Chimimi is like absolutely what he has. Assuming he can. I mean, I didn't actually see what was in his hand. He must not actually be able to do it because he also just wasted the Spirit Stone mana. So I must just be not knowing what his hand is.
Maybe he was just digging for it. I think Charlie is unfortunately solely locked out of this game. I don't really know much that he could do to potentially deal with
this game was over when the guild died. It's extremely difficult for a guild deck whose deck is just full of so much air and so focused on J Ruler synergy to ever win at that point.
I'm ready for Charlie to Ultra Awakening one of Steven's Resonators.
It's in the yard. It's in the yard, Victor.
Oh, there it is, unfortunately. So I don't get to see Ultra Awakening to kill himself.
Well, Charlie is intentionally not removing the Ultra Awakening for this so that he could Aqua Soul it eventually.
What a play. The Viola coming into play. Pumping.
Oh, on the case of being summoned. Oh, okay.
So he stops the Viola, a second Viola, after the first Viola gets canceled.
Aqua Soul it, good play. Aqua Soul, pump it to Oblivion.
Yes, these are also. Yeah. In response to playing this, it's like this one. Yeah. This effect. Yeah. Yes.
I'm building a little chase here, trying to figure out exactly when everything is resolving.
Yeah, Charlie, it's a moot point at this point. Although I will say, if Charlie wins this, that will be very cool.
It will be a big comeback, absolutely. We do see 5 will in hand, or 5 will, so there could be a Karura sitting in there. Karura plus Ultra Awakening is 32. It's not enough, but at least brings things close. And knowing Charlie, he might actually do the silly thing where he Aqua Soul's Ultra Awakening to just know that he's going to die, just be beaten by his own card.
I'd do it.
I mean, there's a way to go. I've seen people kill themselves with Whirlwind Conflagration on purpose when they knew they were going to lose.
Did they do 42 damage to themselves?
No, they did 10. They did 12 to themselves to end the game. Yeah, they did 42 to all 6 targets myself. Game's over. Aqua Soul coming in to regrab the Ultra Awakening.
Please, Charlie.
Nope, not.
No, he's actually tryharding.
Oh, the fair spell.
Come on, Charlie. I trusted you. This is quite the chase. I don't even know what's going on here, but it probably does not end well for Charlie.
So Aquasaur resolves, casts Fair's spell to try to cancel the second Viola. Fair's spell of the Fair spell for Viola.
Charlie's just going to be rolling his eyes now.
Yeah, Steven just had everything this game. Both games, really.
Battle for 20.
Charlie needs to slam that Black Leaf and rest all stones on the board and say final battle for 20.
Steven just concedes. Got him, boys.
Fair spell resolves. Now the Viola is attempting to resolve. Viola resolves on board. Viola effect is now triggering. Going back on the stack. The chase. Immediately banishing it to remove the Ultra Awakening.
Just going to close out every last slip of hope that Charlie could have.
Then the other Lorite resolves. So the Lorite is canceling the Viola's enter effect. And now we're here. 15 in the air. Coming in with that. 7 Disciples. Charlie does not have a way to answer that, so it's just going to be 15 damage. Down to 14. And there's a Hippo in Steven's hand. He should just play it, let it die. 8 in the air. Arrow trap to kill it. I mean, you just swing with everything, correct?
So he might be afraid to swing with the ruler because the ruler gets blocked by the...
You don't swing with the ruler. There's no point because you don't want to lose the board pump. Pass there. If there was ever a moment for Karura to come down, it's probably now. But even then, it's probably not enough.
Hey, there's another card for Charlie. Spirit Stone's so good.
Charlie at 8 stones after having sacked Spirit Stones before. So the weird thing here is Steven actually only having 1 card now can't really Spirit Meditation either. So like Charlie, surprisingly with having those Karuras still in his deck, this could be the time. Like if he can clear this and put Steven down to like no resources.
We're getting real ambitious, but yes.
There's still a play line here. The question becomes, can you finish the game in 6 minutes?
Charlie Steven has 1 card in hand.
It's a Hippo. It's literally unplayable right now.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you pay 2 will, so it's a 3-drop 6/5.
Charlie, I want to see you piece this together, believe me.
Severing Hippo. Just plays the leaf. I have to imagine there's a Karura in Charlie's hands, leaving up this much open will.
It's gotta be the Karura, right?
It has to be. There's really no other out.
All right, so Steven dramatically misplays, attacks with the Chimimi first. Charlie flashes in Gil, blocks it, and Steven has no answer for it, and then Steven pulls back and wins. That's the line here.
That's the play line?
Yeah, Steven's hand is Lorite Hippo, which is more or less
dead.
Nothing, yeah.
So Lorite.
Oh, just kidding. He's got a Disciple.
No, he's already responded to the trigger, so Lorite's actually only going to get. He has to pick
We've just received confirmation that Ryan won his game. Yeah, ask my little brother.
So the resolution here is a little bit interesting. So he he responded to the main phase trigger with flashing and low right, so then he would gain all of them. So that's it's a 9-13 in the air with drain, flying, precision, first strike. Like, I don't think there's anything that.
It's more than that because it's 13 because of Chimimi.
That's what I said. 13.
Oh, I thought you said
13
that.
with flying, drain, barrier, precision, first strike, cracking the Spirit Stone after producing green, seeing if maybe he can get something. And then comes the Karura. He has to have the Winds of Vitality to back it up. Right? And even then, it's still not enough. Just throws Karura under the bus. There's the Winds of Vitality to pump it. So we at least get the 7 Disciples out of the board.
Yeah.
He still gains 13 life, though. He's going up to 62.
Yeah, okay, so Ruler. So he's got 2 blocks. Well, not
40,
one
49.
block is actually a bounce. Well, actually, if he attacks with the 100 Eyes one first, then it has to get blocked because it can't be bounced. Because if it gets a bounce, then the Leaf Paladin won't be able to block anymore, and that's lethal. So I think the most correct play for Steven here is attack with the 100 Eyes one. Oh, actually,
they're all gigantic, so.
Viola does it too, because if he bounces Viola, then he just gives the Ruler flying, and then that's lethal.
You have one now.
Oh wait, no, that isn't lethal. If Charlie's actually at 14.
Charlie is at 14.
Oh, and then the Ruler can't attack because Karura would crash back into it. Charlie is hanging on by his fingernails, but he is hanging on.
Absolutely. This has been a very solid back and forth in Game 2. Steven feeling very comfortable, though, with his 6,200 life. Time is definitely switched.
Someone tell me how many cards are in this guy's deck, though. Does he even have enough cards to get through 6,200 life?
One Hillbilly hasn't been used yet. Oh, I did use that? Okay.
Charlie got that jittery bounce over there.
Well, very much so. I mean, he's staring down a clock. And Steven...
yeah.
Steven's using... I mean, like, all of this questioning, all of this wondering that Steven's doing is 100% valid in terms of whether or not you push more in this turn. Using the Spirit Meditation to bring back the 7 Disciples.
Yeah, okay.
So the idea here is you call for Stone, and play it. Bounce the Lord in response to the cast.
Got him, boys. It's a bounce. It shouldn't be in the yard. He just put the Lord in the graveyard.
Yeah, 1 second.
Should have been a bounce. Get him, Jeremy. Oh no, we're trapped in the commentator booth. Just yell.
Charlie, Steven! What? Blue leaf bounces.
Oh, blue leaf bounces. Okay. Yeah, I just didn't think about it.
Yeah, all right. Don't want.
We fixed it. have to have a legal voice say you can't like change card effects.
Yeah, dinguses.
Pardon the yelling.
Even though Charlie would much rather have it be in the yard.
Yeah. Or 10 for the 100 Eyes one. Swinging in for Charlie's just going to extend the hand.
Fingernails do not last very long.
Yeah,
so.
Unfortunately, it was just a matter of, like you said, the turn that the guild died, it was pretty much over at that point. It just becomes this uphill battle, and like so much of the deck just becomes like you're just milling yourself out, which is awful because you have these random cards return. You lose your recycling, you use your utility box, and like outside of Karura, the deck just unfortunately doesn't have much like damage potential. Like it's so just like becomes this massive grind against an aggro deck that eventually makes all of their stuff +4/+4, and you can't come back. Unfortunately.
Yes, indeed. It was a very interesting game. I think Charlie played it very well. I'm not even necessarily sure if finding Gentle Breeze on his judge was even strictly a misplay, because it really did feel like Charlie had a lot of tools to answer that crackback.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's just that Steven just, seemed to have it all, which was very nice.
Yeah, so we are going to go check and see how we're going on the rest of top 4. We know that at least the rest of top 8, obviously 2 of the 4 have already finished. So we're going to go check in and see, or I'm going to go check in and see. So before I do that, though, so this top 8, first off, was a super diverse meta just in general. And then we go into the top 8, and it's 3 Chimimi, 2 IU, who mirrored, unfortunately. So 2 IUs mirrored. So 3 Chimimi, 2 IU, 1 Kirik, 1 Gil, and 1 Time Spinning Witch. Now we know, at least at this point, that there's an IU, a Chimimi, and a Time Spinning Witch in top 4. The other one was Chimimi versus Kirik. So
it's favored for Kirik, it is.
So then the potential top 4 is Chimimi, Time Spinning Witch, IU, Kirik. 4 different decks in top 4. So how do you feel about that?
Like, it's actually even better than that. So it's 4 decks in top 4. One of them is a combo deck. 2 of them are aggro decks, and one of them is a control deck, which is not only ruler diverse, it's gameplay diverse. So like whatever you wanted to play at this event, whatever you sat down and said, this is my play style, this is what I enjoy about Force of Will, you could have done it. And that we haven't been able to say that for a very long time, which is very cool.
I think that's the beauty of this meta.
It is a very, very cool meta.
It has been pretty awesome to see people playing and see the creativity of it. So I'm going to go check and see how we're doing. It looks like the IU one of the IU matches is finished, so we might actually be pushing to top 4 here quickly. I'll see what the breakdowns is, and I'll be right back to tell you guys what we end up seeing for top 4. So stick around. We'll be right back. I lied. We're back faster because we're going to be going to top 4 here. We're going to have Steven Holsheiser back on stream versus Ryan Miles. So I get to see Chamimi versus Time Spinning Witch. So they're getting everything. So we actually got Kirik, Ayu, Chamimi, and Time Spinning Witch all in top 4. So it's 4 completely different rulers, which I think is awesome to see for our first event. Sorry that Gil did not get you there, my friend. Ryan is, what, 3rd seed?
Yes, 3rd seed. And Holsheiser is 2nd seed, so he'll get to pick Holsheiser, my bad.
3rd seed versus 2nd seed here. Get my life totals while I can play. They have their 3 minutes here already to start looking at their deck lists, so this is not time on round, so this gives me time to update everything.
You have one less trap match to Lemur.
And then back to 0 wins. So you chose to play Gil. You were the only Gil who made it to top 8.
Yes.
What were some of the things that you think separated your Gil from the other Gils that were played here?
Ultra Awakening.
There we go. We got the grand cult of Ultra Awakening. The card just did work for you all day, right?
It won matchups. So you guys saw like the stream matchup that I was on round 3. I don't know. Well, I don't know if you guys did, but the stream match that I was on round 3 in Swiss yesterday, when I won from like 200 life against the Kirik game 1 with the Ultra Awakening play, that basically happened like all day. I kept winning games, which led to me winning matches, which I just shouldn't have won because of Ultra Awakening. So that card did some work. What? You want to? Oh. Other than that, I talked with Aaron Miles about the list a little bit. We main deck Black Tears for the Chamimi matchup. When they don't flip elephants, you don't really play it.
Right.
And then, so we had that, and then, what other, like, spicy things were there? We had one and only also for Chamimi.
For Chamimi? You mean for Gilmir's? Oh, no, to kill all the elephants?
To kill all the elephants and to kill their stuff off of Yokai Festival. When they get that out, which hindsight is 2020 because I totally forgot about it. I didn't port it into game 2. Other spicy tech, sideboarded Treachery.
Yeah, we talked about that card, yep.
And then other than that, I think it was just like play that kind of got me there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw you play very well. Unfortunately, just like you had these really solid protection turns with the flips. So what made you decide to go to not using so many spiritual awakenings versus the like cycling more with your gentle breeze elementals with Gil?
Spiritual awakening?
Sorry, spiritual guidance. I keep calling
that card? So you have to do
you have to burn your entire will base.
Yeah, so the spiritual guidance, you have to burn your entire will base to do it. And so it'll gain you the life, but unless your hand is already, like, super high up there, you really don't, like... spiritual...
Spiritual guidance.
No. He's talking about the green one, search your deck for a chant, add it to your hand. So that card's really good, so you can go... if you're playing in an Agromir, if you have it in your hand, off of the, if you have it in your hand and you do a Gil flip, you can activate it to search your deck for an arrival of the hero, activate Gil to search your deck for an arrival of the hero, and then activate Gil on the following turn to search your deck for Aqua Soul and get a third arrival of the hero.
Oh, nice. That's a good idea.
So it's just more... It's extra cards.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And just like more deck consistency overall. Or if you need spiritual guidance, like Jeremy has up on screen, you can get that one for like a following turn, or other stuff like that. How really bad is a deck?
Like Chamimi.
Like Chamimi. So Chamimi is like a really good mid-range deck that also has the cancel potential stuff. So like Lorite, Fair Spell. The Ayu player is Kaltuma. So it has the it has all the cancel stuff, but then it also has a bunch of good resonators. And what the deck likes to do is it really loves slashing in Lorite on like 2, so like keeping up the mana for
like Fair Spell or something.
yeah,
like that.
yeah, or keeping up the mana for Fair Spell or Lorite if they choose to do it. And then when if they move to end step and don't do anything, they flash in the Lorite, and then turn 3 they just slam Lorite's Disciples, and then if you can't interact with that, that's essentially the game against most decks.
Yeah. So do you think that like Chamimi is like oppressive in this format, or do you think that's still just a wide open?
No, I don't think she's oppressive. She's definitely beatable. I drew with Steven in Swiss, and then I beat another Chamimi in Swiss as well.
Okay, it looks like we're going in here. Time Spinning Witch.
Ooh, TSW.
You can watch here.
Treachery is also for TSW, by the way.
So that your Gil can kill Time
so
Spinning?
you can kill Time Spinning Witch.
So TSW versus Chamimi here. I was talking with Ryan, and he actually was a little scared of Chamimi. He was like, this is probably my hardest matchup.
So the Chamimi deck's weird. So a lot of their stuff... So only 7 Disciples has Swiftness. Which
gives a little bit more time for Ryan, and he can bounce a 3-drop with Dragon Lord's Breath.
Exactly. Well, he can. Dragon Lord's Breath targets a 3-drop.
That's what I'm saying. He
can
target
bounce.
it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he can bounce
I thought
it.
you said you can't. Okay.
No, he can.
Yeah. So he can bounce basically everything that Steven plays with Dragon Lord's Breath. The thing that he's going to have to look out for is Steven has a really interesting playstyle that not a lot of Chamimis did all day, which is he loves keeping mana open past turn 2. So he like almost never plays on curve, and when he does play on curve, he like it's really powerful turns that he plays on curve.
Sure.
But because of that, you can sort of see them coming. But he doesn't. He plays very reactively, not very proactively. Which might be hard for TSW to play against.
Because then you can't actually
you can't
ever lock him out. And with that, we're starting. Here we go. First turn Spirit Stone.
Let's go.
I'm excited to see this matchup. This is one that we didn't see at all yesterday.
Ooh.
Same with what we didn't see in
Hitting
top 8.
Spirit Stone. Good first.
Ryan said, oh, you're incredibly favored all of a sudden. Imagine if we see a statue come down here. Yep, that's really excellent. That first turn statue.
Yeah, probably not going to cycle. Keep it up in case he needs to activate it for anything. Yeah, not playing anything turn 1, that's kind of a slow start.
Yeah, we talked about that before. Like, Steven had a couple turns where he just, like, didn't play anything.
Yeah. I don't know what he plans on keeping. I don't know, like, what he's trying to play around.
A second pass.
Ooh.
Imagine we're probably seeing the Lorite's
Hey, he
Disciple
did that
play.
to me, and he still won, so I can't really say anything.
Imagine we got probably see beyond the threshold of time here for a free ramp.
Yeah, the only other thing about the Chamimi deck that's
not seeing blue here is pretty bad. I mean, he still has access to Energize, and
another
another idol just comes back. So Ryan slamming forward in terms of having will over Chamimi, which I think actually is probably the way that he wins here. Is just like having so much that like Steven can't keep up, especially with a slow start like this.
Oh, he has 2 boomerangs in hand. That's really bad.
Against Time Spinning Witch seems very bad. So for those of you beyond the threshold of time, this is the main ramp card. Time Spinning Witch can easily play it out too. It gets them a free stone that comes into play recovered, and they get a will card off of it. It's a very good card for Time Spinning Witch. It's pretty much a 4 of, right? Most of the decks are playing 4.
Idol of, or beyond the threshold?
Yeah.
Ryan's playing 3. I think they cut it down a little. So it's really, I really like it, but you almost never want to see more than 3.
That's fair. Because eventually you just run out.
Yeah.
Let's see if we see. Oh my gosh, 3 turns with no play from Steven.
He has.
This is.
Let's see. So he has Ruin Story, Boomerang, Winds of Vitality. I don't know the other 3 cards.
Yeah, that seems pretty bad.
Yeah. Oh, 3rd Speaking Stone for Ryan.
So 2 blue will sources, potentially 3. Because
this is a.
This is a very suboptimal turn.
This is a very suboptimal match.
For both. I mean,
yeah, for everybody.
Ryan definitely making better use of these.
His will, yeah.
You know, every breathing moment. Now the question is, do we see a game 1 win, game 2 reset from Time Spinning Witch? Because against Chamimi, especially if we have a slow start like this, you're just well, okay, if the game's going to go long, I'll get to 10 stones. You probably can't kill Time Spinning Witch. I believe that's what Brandon Fremont did at one point in time. Is he won game 1 and then in game 2 just like took it really long and then went, well, reset the game so you can't possibly win.
Yep, I did that with Gil quite a bit as well. If your game just starts running long, you just make it run longer, and then game 2 you just
time spinning, which can do even better than that because it just says, well, let's reset.
Yeah, let's start another game, but keep it the same.
His own 7 disciples coming down here.
So he has Pygmy Hippo, Boomerang Boomerang, Winds of Vitality, Ruin Story.
That seems
Elemental Blast.
Yep, he has been playing Elemental Blast.
An Elemental Blast.
But that seems really bad. That hand seems just super dead. The Ruin
he's going to cast the Ruin Story.
To force the sack.
Yeah, so he's going to try he's probably going to try and bait something. He wants Ryan to counter this here, especially because he has all the green. Or just let it sack. So it's pretty free for him either way, because his next turn he could play any card and then Elemental Blast and get rid of the 7
problem here
disciple.
Is now he's tapped out, and Ryan definitely has access to time spinning. He can Distortion of Time here. No, he can't.
No,
he
can't do 4. Yeah.
He doesn't have Time Will.
Steven still has 1 mana open as well, so he's got a greenstone
for the low right.
Yeah, just in case.
I think Ryan still definitely
draws
this
a fairy.
Not great,
but at least it's something. We'll probably see him play it here. Get something on board, you know.
Yeah.
Unless he's just going to plan on playing super conservatively. No, yeah, there's the fairy.
We just need to put something on the board there. End of turn. Draw a card. Viola comes down here. Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah.
He just says, well, I will see your creature and raise you a creature.
And so he does have the fairs in hand, I think. I think I saw fairs. Maybe not.
Lets it resolve.
It's another card. All green cards look the same.
So at this point in time, I think a 4th Speaker Stone.
Man.
For Ryan. That is suboptimal. Still has access to double blue because of Energize, which is not terrible.
Yeah, he does have the double Distortion in hand.
Do you cast the Distortion just using 1?
Just
to see it, just to put it in the grave?
Probably not if you can't cast it. But if you have 2... So he wants to try and get the lock right. But Steven runs Viola, and he's been keeping
that's
mana
true. He has
open
been
this whole time.
Viola, so you don't want it to go to grave without immediately being able to cast it.
Yeah. And so at that point...
Well, he can cast Time Lock here. He can actually lock it.
He doesn't have the blue.
Yes, he does Energize.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, okay, I guess he could.
Energize blue, produce time with Time Spinning Witch green, and then just lock it. He looks like he's thinking about potentially casting the Time Spinning Witch here, or the Distortion. I don't think that's the right call.
I don't think it is either.
There's not enough value to be gained off of it here.
I mean,
with
I think
Steven still having 3 open will.
Fine with just the Viola here. Yeah, he's going to cast the Distortion.
He is going to cast the Distortion.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to cycle through, try and see more cards. Get to Dinosaur Surfacing and start trying to lock. He also can't Mosa his opponent's board effectively yet, because he has 2 Speaking Stones.
Correct. I think at this point, though, the rest of the stone base is all blue. So,
yes,
starting next turn.
The rest of the stone base is 4 Magic Stones of Time and 1 more
Chaos.
Chaos, yeah.
So there's the first damage of the match here on turn 4, turn 5.
Going to Ryan Miles, the control deck.
Against the aggro player. This has been a very interesting match.
He has another Idol of Magic.
Oh, I would imagine that just gets cast, right?
Unless he's
he has
trying
the
to
angel
hold up,
statue as well.
Unless he's trying to hold up a bunch of mana for like play. Yeah.
It's a free card.
Yeah.
So. So the idol is actually really good here, considering the fact that once again, like every turn that Steven isn't putting pressure on Ryan is just great for Ryan.
Yeah. Then Ryan will eventually get like a lockout, so on and so
forth.
If
Or if the game goes into a really bad position for Ryan, he can just go reset the game. And I actually don't think that, because of the other stuff that Ryan's doing in his deck, I actually don't think he cares at all about resetting the game. Like, because he can actually, there's no way to kill, in the Chimimi list, there's literally no way to kill a Time Spinning Witch that's been double flipped.
Yeah. But does Ryan have an answer to elephants?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, he just bounces them.
Oh, with Dragon Lord's Breath.
Dragon
Okay,
Lord's Breath literally just
okay.
answers both. Answers two.
Yeah, it gets rid of 2.
Or-
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that'll do it. Yeah.
So taking the 4. Yeah, I actually think that this could be a match where a double flip is actually relevant. Mainly just because of the fact that, once again, I don't know if there's a way for Chamimi to be able to answer. There's no way for Chamimi to be able to kill Kaguya 5.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, Ryan's,
And then just one extra card per turn or one extra perfect will per turn just means that Ryan gets to do whatever he wants.
Yeah. I only see Ryan doing like.
The double flip if he gets into like the worst shape of
Well,
his life.
the double flip on this game if he gets into the literal worst shape of his life. But I feel like he's just going to try and grind it out as much as possible.
Oh, I agree. I think that's probably the right call.
And then, like you said, try and double flip, or he's going to...
During the upkeep, we're going to do Distortion of Time. That's a little greedy, I think. But what he can do here is...
because that now... So that'll help, because if he punches into the fairy with Viola, he has to block with Pygmy Hippo. He can't sack it, otherwise he'll be down another stone for the following turn. And then so like Ryan kind of gets like a free turn basically,
Right.
Because if he tries to answer anything, he's going to be tapped down.
And if he tries to do anything during his next turn, being tapped down, he gets to then start Moza, sourcing. We eventually get to a point here where I think the Koga comes down. And if the Koga comes down against Chamimi, I think Chamimi's actually in a bad shape.
Yeah.
Because then you just have instant speed
he has no way to
Mosasauruses.
deal with it pre-board. So.
And then instant speed Mosasaurus, and there's 3 fair spells in Ryan's hands.
Woo! Crisp.
And a Keys call.
There's a Mosa.
And there's a Beyond the Threshold. Yeah, so the interesting thing here about the Moza is they skip their next recovery. They don't recover during the next recovery phase, but Distortion of Time says you don't have a recovery phase. So you can actually hit 3 stones that have been recovered, and then if Steven actually uses them for anything, they'll actually stay down for the next turn. So it's this kind of weird progressive lock.
Yeah.
It actually is really solid for Ryan.
Because now he forces him to try and have the Lorite, which will tap him out, which will then cause him
to not recover that stone.
And then Ryan will fair his spell to force him to fair his spell, so
which taps
he'll
him down even
to
further.
2 stones.
And he'll still have a Mosasaurus on board, because that's the thing. Lorite, yeah, sure stops it, but it's still a 15-10 that you have to answer immediately. So this is a pretty solid turn. And Ryan's still having the one will to answer a potential Ruin story play. Ryan might also be playing one and only
There's
for the elephants.
Now here's the fair spell. And then we'll see him fair spell it as well.
And now Steven's going to 2 stones on his next turn. I think that actually gives Ryan exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
Because Steven's going to skip his recovery, and he still can't call a stone. So Steven's now stuck at 2 stones for the entirety of the next turn.
He can go up to 3 mana? Did
By
he tap wrong there?
I think so, by not tapping the Spirit Meditation.
Does he go... Is that only 2? Hang on. You have to pay 2... No, it'd still only be 2.
Yeah, he's still stuck at 2 for the entirety of that turn.
I can math, it's fine.
So this is actually a really solid... That play worked out exactly the way Ryan wanted, forcing Steven to use 2 cards and 2 will. And then next turn you can just slam another Mosasaurus and just say nope,
and then lock
nope,
those 3
nope,
down.
and just continue to lock.
Yeah. Or, so he has the one time... Yeah, so he can't Judgment this turn, or this following turn. So he can't get, like, a double Distortion lock going.
He does have access to the Idol of Magic still during Steven's turn, which is also really solid.
That'll give him access to a fair spell. I don't know. The only quick cast cards that aren't combat tricks would be
Snipe
Viola.
Away Me. And then Elemental Blast.
Wait, sorry. It's a I'm producing time fast. I think that'll die.
Realizing that Elemental Blast doesn't have. Gets in for 1. 35.
So I guess he's trying
that
to
aggro deck putting in beats. So this is a really risky turn here.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. If Ryan somehow has a way to do, because he does have a time stone, if Ryan does actually have a way here to do double Goddard, I think that pretty much locks it, right? Because that's 5 stones
He
down.
would have to...
You have to.
Beyond the threshold of time, hit a time stone. Judgment.
He has a time stone.
He needs 2 though.
Oh right, he needs 2. Never mind.
Hit a time stone. That's 4 mana. Judgment for 2. That's 2, and the only 2 left would be green stones.
Yeah, so he's a little bit out.
So he has idle magic, but then he can. So that puts him up to 3. No, he's 1 mana short.
So beyond the threshold of time, hits him the double time stone, doubles time stone there.
Wait, no, because he gets the 2 on the back. No,
Well, he needs
could
2
do
blue. He needs 2 blue. Beyond the threshold takes 1 blue. He can't. He's 1 blue short.
Wait, but he gets it off of idle magic.
He needs 2.
Oh wait,
blue.
no, he needs 2 because 1 for the God Art, 1 for the.
Correct.
Yeah.
He needs
the
2
actual
blue.
cast.
He's actually
Yeah.
1 blue stone short from being able to double God Art here. And if he was able to do a double God Art here, that's pretty much game,
That's
right?
game.
That's
That'd
like
be game over.
5 stones double lock. You have a
Yeah.
right, and I just start
Your
swiping the board over
your
and
next
over and over
turn
again.
is literally pass. There's the
There's
beyond
the threshold, which is still fine. Like Ryan gets to use his turn. There's the time stone.
No, we weren't talking about a double judgment for that. We were talking about
Double God Art.
double God Art, so activating another distortion of time and then using Chrono Break. He's still going to go for the judgment here. It's probably just good to have her. Oh, he did God's Art.
I mean, he's already recycling it. Like, there's no reason for him not to.
Ooh, what if he has another idol magic?
Ooh, that would be spice. He does have the distortion. He just needs another idol, and he actually has it. Because he has the blue floating at this point. So an idol play here, actually, because he can dig for an idol.
Yep. So I think that's what he's going for.
He might actually have one in hand. He has the angel in. Yeah, he has the angel in hand.
Is the angel enough?
No, it would not be. It would still be 1 short. He has to have Idol of Magic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's still in fine shape because, like...
Chabimi has no way to deal with TSW outside of punching her. But you would have to go
he
for
got
a
another
7.
angel left. Oh, I think he does. Did he get the Idol? He has the angels.
The angel statue.
Do you just play the angel?
I don't
think you probably do.
I don't think you play the angel here because if he has 7 disciple with backup, TSW dies.
So he has a 1 floating blue. So, like, you just... No, he's used the distortion. So he has 2 floating time, and I think you play the angel here. Because then it just means, like, you go down to 1 stone, but time spinning, which produces 2 times. So he still has a live Dragonlord's Breath.
I don't think so. We know Steven has a Winds of Vitality in his hand.
Also draws him a card. The Winds of Vitality is irrelevant.
No, because if he plays 7 disciples,
Oh, he can kill the time
he
spinning.
can kill the TSW.
Well, you just respond to the cast of time spinning with that with the.
So he can go disciple fair spell wins. He has the mana for it.
Sure. A little risky. Trying to see what he wants to do with that other 2 floating.
I mean, Ryan's already used the God Art. The only thing he couldn't be able to do now is
Double Judgment.
Double Judgment.
He is at 7 stones.
He is at 7 stone.
He's just going to let that turn pass.
Yeah. So I wonder if Steven... I feel like you still try and kill her. She's just an 8-8 or 8-12 with barrier and flying. He's
Well,
going to go for the Forest Meditation play.
If you need to dig, it's a good way to do it. Forest Meditation getting cast here.
Keep those back. Draw card? Yep.
Just suddenly reloading his hand. Oh, that Viola is really good right now. You just cast it right now, don't you? The Viola?
Get rid of the distortion
Just
of time.
like pay 2, get rid of distortion of time. He's got to, I mean, that might be the play.
That's kind of weird and questionable because he'll have more distortions. He's already dug so much. It's like you can't stop any of the other ones. You need the Lorite in order to stop all the other ones. So you have to Viola, get rid of it, and then feel like he was
Swing in for
comfortable
4. There's
enough.
no reason to not just take that damage. 3,100.
Okay, feel free, my friend.
This is a very interesting turn because if Steven definitely has the potential ability to be able to answer the time spinning wish here. Like he does, he has that ability. Viola, yep, to cast it in. He's not going to swing in the low right, so it just gives herself +2/+2.
Go ahead and banish to remove distortion and disciples.
Theoretically, 200 missed damage.
He's going to double produce and spend 1. Low right the Viola trigger. That's really solid. If Steven can't answer this, that's actually really bad for him. Ruin Stories to cancel it because he can't spend the time spinning. I mean, that's still fine. Ultimately, that used 2 cards to just get rid of, like, it's a net 0, really, and it also shifted Steven off of having any really good will sources, like only having 2 will for the rest of the turn. So that play actually still is good. Like, the Viola gets rid of the distortion, but like you said, there's probably a distortion somewhere pretty close for Ryan. And now he only has 2 will, and he's tapped himself down to 2.
Yeah.
So, like, that, like, again,
yeah, the other thing is Ryan might also be getting into, like, Mosa turns, which now he's getting more free mana. So he can sack the Chaos Stone, produce will with Time Spinning Witch, and then just spend 1 other stone and get a Mosa right now, and that leaves up so much counter magic for him.
Because it's 2, 4, and then 1 other will, yeah. Which is a Mosa for 2 stones.
Yep.
I imagine we probably see the Koga Village come down here potentially soon, and I think once the Koga Village comes down, it's probably just like...
Oh, he's looking at it.
The
he
Koga?
put Dinosaur Surfacing to the front of his hand.
I mean, you just cast it, right? There's nothing really Steven can do to answer it other than having a Lorite.
Yeah, he would have to have Lorite, and then...
What? Oh, you're right. Hold on. Ryan! Hey, pause.
At 40 minutes. Oh yeah, the money? Oh yeah. That's why I don't care. Yeah. I was like, I already have an invite. I was like, I already have an invite. Yeah. I got $500.
We just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I was like, I swear the story was anything. I was like, I didn't see anything wrong.
I know that.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I was like, Ruin Story's a Mind Spike. I was about to look it up myself. I was like, what?
Sorry about that. We just always try to, like, do everything good. Everything's fine.
There it is. The Dinosaur Surfacing.
Dinosaur Surfacing.
So he didn't sack the stone. He just tapped the 3.
I mean, that's still fine. It's still for 3.
I figured he felt pretty comfortable. I think he wants to try and keep the ability to reset as much as possible.
Where is the Dinosaur Surfacing? Here we go.
Oh yeah, look at it. It's so beautiful. Look at Mosasaurus eat that pterodactyl.
Keys Call for the Lorite. Keys Call, an excellent answer to the Lorite play.
That's why they ran the 1 Keys' Call for an extra answer to Lorite, because their only other answer was Lorite and or
Fair Spell.
Yeah.
So and that's a little bit color intensive. So
One in gray, right?
Yeah, there's one green. I could also do Lorite, I guess.
So it looks like the Mosasaurus got there.
Yeah, then he gets to lock down 3 stones. And the other important part is that Steven doesn't have Forest Meditation anymore.
Yeah.
So, yes,
Steven will be at
his New Frontiers format.
as it says on the screen.
Well,
Sure. I'll draw.
no, it doesn't say that there. It says Wander. You're lying to me. No, so Nitrogen Blade can as well. However, Keys' Call is 1 mana replace itself, whereas Nitrogen Blade is 1 mana not replace itself.
And you don't want to really kill a Lorite
Yeah.
with
And you
Nitrogen Blade.
Yeah, and then you don't want to kill a Lorite with Nitrogen Blade, and it's 4 mana in order to hit that part.
So they probably got about a minute time extension just for me interrupting their match.
Yeah. There's the Koga.
There's the Koga. This is actually not good for Steven because he has no way to interact with that, and now we have probably an instant speed Mosasaurus every turn for the rest of the game. So trying to pull up Koga here for you guys. So I'm glad we actually get to see this happen, because what he can do, so here's the thing that he can do. So he can leave the Mosasaurus up, and then during Steven's turn, he can use Time Spinning Witch to produce, or one of his stones, to produce for the Koga, and then remove the Mosasaurus at instant speed, and then recover on his turn and tap it again to just like whenever he needs to, flash in the Mosasaurus when it's most relevant. So we just have a 2-will Mosasaurus for the rest of the game. He's attacking with Time Spinning Witch. Kills it. I mean, might as well get rid of the fire while you have it,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he's locking down the stone, so he's getting more mana intensive on Steven's side. And then he also still has a blocker, kind of. The only thing you'd have to worry about... Oh, God. Bless me.
The only thing you have to worry about is Winds of Vitality?
Would be like a 7, like a 7 Disciple with Winds as well. But he still has the mana for it.
Why is he so recovered? He was Mosasaurus.
So you tap the 2 Spirit Stones, and then he targeted 1 recovered Wind Stone.
Oh, okay. Why target the Spirit Stones that could just be sacrificed?
Because he can't target the Speaking Stones.
Oh, because they... Yep. There's your answer there. I'm so stupid. Don't know what Ruin Stories is. Doesn't remember that Speaking Stone has Barrier. My apologies. So 5 will is still a lot of will for Steven to be able to play with this turn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Ryan's looking for, to try and just put, a bunch of pressure on board.
Oh, yeah.
Force
15-10s aren't really something that Jamimi can really deal with. So the Mosasaurus...
Swing with Lorite, block with Mosa. Sandstorm Elemental Blast.
That's a lot.
Let's see. He has a fairy. Probably, I think he wants to extend board, but not over tap.
Yeah, that's dangerous for him.
That's what he's looking for.
Having already used, I think, 2 of his Violas up.
He's also used 2 of his Lorites, and the only way he has for recursion is 3 Winds of Vitality, which he's cast 0 so far.
And Elemental Blast.
Ooh. Oh, that is a Spear Magic. So he has 2 recycles for Lorite. So he's cast 1 Elemental Blast, he has the second in hand, and he's cast 0 Winds. So he has 1 Spirit Magic.
A Viola getting cast here by Ryan. Oh, no, the Viola's been there for a bit. My apologies. No.
Oh, no, he just cast it.
Just cast it.
Yeah. And he's Mind Spiking him again. Except he
just used Time Spinning Witch to produce with it, right?
Produce and then pay for.
The question is whether or not you use it to save the Viola, which I actually would debate is probably fine. You actually just let the Viola die.
Well, you use it to save the Viola because you have the 1 extra mana floating, so you can still blink the Mosa if you need it.
Sure. Or he's gonna, or you just fair spell it. Yeah. That. Why fair? What?
It's okay. We all know Ryan's.
Why fair spell a thing where you can just pay 1 to do it?
I think Ryan misplayed. We're going to call that a misplay.
I think that is a misplay. Unless he picked the different mode that we're not thinking of. Oh, I think he might have been doing it to force a sack of the Mosasaurus.
Maybe do the sack.
In response to the Viola trigger. There's the fair spell coming in. Do you just blink the Mosasaurus then? Took Mosasaurus.
And then he's going to Lorite.
Lorite it. Oh, Magic Boomerang to bounce a Lorite.
Boomerang, bounce Lorite.
Recast Lorite, tap yourself out just to deal with Mosasaurus? That seems really risky.
And then Viola still triggers. So now that he has the Viola, he could just remove the Spirit Magics over the Lorites.
So that seems really like a risky play from Steven, just to get rid of a Mosasaurus, and now completely tapping himself out, leaving himself completely vulnerable to another Distortion, because we know there's just 2 more in Ryan's deck. Like, if there's another Distortion of Time here, it's pretty much over.
There's another Angel statue.
Well, it's very bad, I should say. It's not pretty much over. We've seen both of these players come back from very interesting positions.
Ryan Miles thinking.
We're in here for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
40-minute turns with Ryan Miles. I mean, to be honest, this is a very precarious situation. Like, he's definitely ahead, but it's not like a commanding ahead. But this turn, if he can capitalize on the fact that Steven taps out, just is like super solid. Clearly, he doesn't have time in hand, because otherwise you just slam it and ram it and go. But there are definitely some play lines that you have to kind of think about here. A dinosaur surfacing would also be very strong, because then you still have Koga on live. Swinging in for 8 in the air. That is 8 damage in the air. It's nothing to shake a stick at. He can still bring back Moza, though.
Yeah, and then Steven has no life gain in his deck outside of...
Ooh, there's the Disciples.
Drain. Yeah, Disciples. That one.
Yeah.
The one that I guess Ryan now has.
I mean...
Ooh, is he just going to slam it?
I mean, you do, right? Why are the 2 Speaker Stones tapped? For the Viola during the upkeep. I think.
That's correct. Trevor.
It's a fun game, right?
Yeah, man, I think what it is.
So why are the 2 will tapped? What was that for? Oh, the Angel statue that he played this turn.
Yeah.
So now he actually Time Spinning Witch is 2 Ruler's Memoria. Time Spinning Witch is just pay 2, produce 2 of whatever he wants. Or pay 0, produce 2, whatever one he wants. Getting in for that 7, going down to 19.
Yeah, he's up on life now, and by quite a significant margin.
And still has 4 will to play around with during Steven's turn. So this is the kind of position that I think Ryan was kind of like dreaming for, the kind of where he's super far ahead, he's owning tempo, and Steven has to now pay will to be able to reestablish, which just gives Ryan time to just be like, okay, cool.
Yeah. And Ryan still keeps mana open for Koga, which means he can keep linking Disciples if he needs to.
To keep saving it.
Yeah.
Mickey. Yeah, good old Mickey coming in. CL's familiar Mickey, the tiny cat. If I can find it. Let's look at the top 3. So obviously digging for some answers. I think that slow start for Steven just really hurt him a lot.
Definitely.
His own Lord 7 Disciples with 1 will saved to bring it up.
Yeah, he's going to hit the trigger, and he's probably going to Dragon Lord's Breath here.
I imagine.
Steven has a Fair spell in hand, so he has the 1 cancel. So if Ryan has
affairs to cancel it, then he's just again punished.
And Ryan has a double DLB in his hand.
So that's going to be really good.
One time or 2 times? Just one time. Okay. Draw a card.
So he's spending 1 time
To draw the card. Like,
to
he
draw
has
the
no
card.
need to bounce any of the other things. That's just like fluff, essentially. He doesn't want to give him back Lorites, even if they're at the bottom of his deck. And if he's attempting to go into the Fair spell, he wants to do the second one as well. So you can draw.
Fair spell. I mean, the second Dragon Large Breath got there as well, so just puts it back in his hand and he draws another card.
Yeah.
That's really good for Ryan. He just got 2 cards and again forced Steven to tap out on a very suboptimal board. His Lord 7 Disciples is going to come in there.
I think Ryan has Ruin Story. Is he Ruin Story?
He's going to cast Lore right here in the upkeep. So his Disciples just becomes huge. So if we see a distortion of time here, that's game, right?
Yes.
Like a distortion of time here is just...
1000% game.
Yeah. Which is exactly what Ryan wanted. He's going to try to kill the Mikkei in response.
Yeah.
No, so the check
Checks on resolution.
Okay.
So Ryan's trying to shoot for lethal here.
So the Mikkei is going to kill the Lorite in response to the 7 Disciples effect going on Chase, and Lorite 7 Disciples chooses on Resolution. So the way this works is if the Lorite dies in response to the effect, then that's right? It chooses a Resolution.
Yeah, it chooses a resolution.
So then you he only gets 1 as opposed to getting all of the 7 different effects.
There's nothing on the card that targets.
It's still like the same play either way, I guess. We can still just do it. It's just like
So a Koga bounce to the Lorite here seems a little incorrect, right? The other thing to note here is he's actually used up both of his Time Will for the turn from Time Spinning Witch, and here's why. So he double produces in the recovery phase to do that, but then after the recovery phase is over, all of his will goes away, and Time Spinning Witch can only activate once per turn. So Time Will does not go away from that. It still vanishes, so Time Spinning Witch is just an 8/12 flyer for the turn. 8 in the air down to...
Puts him down to 200.
Yeah. No, he's just going to scoop it up because of the Viola.
Well, yeah. I mean, it'd still be at 200, but then he, like...
I've been waiting for the second one.
Because he did 7. Well, because he did 8 in the air and then 7 in the air, and then he gives the other Viola flying and swings in for another 8.
Oh, he gave the other Viola flying.
Yeah. Because he picked
flying.
flying with the Disciples that was already on board. So Ryan taking that first game. The slow turns definitely went to Ryan's advantage, and only having 20, so they have 26 minutes left on round. Actually, I think works to Ryan's favor potentially, but like
Especially
Steven
has the kind of start
that he did in game 1. Absolutely. I'm pretty sure he picked flying, otherwise the Lorite could have blocked it. Yeah, he Viola'd the other Viola.
Yeah. Oh, wait, is that right?
He picked flying.
7 plus
8 plus
at
8.
19.
7 plus 8 plus 8. It's over 20. That's 24 damage. It's lethal.
Oh, no, hang on. What
7
about
plus
the other way? 7 plus 8 is 15, plus 200 from Viola
17.
is 17. So if he did it that way, it wouldn't have been lethal.
Correct,
So
it would have been too short.
on the,
So it had to be 7 plus 8 plus 8 for 23 total lethal. I don't know why Steven's looking at his phone.
Ryan went to the bathroom.
Oh, that's fair. Not supposed to have electronic devices. But whatever.
Yeah. We can see exactly what he's doing. All the text messages he's sending.
17 million text messages.
Exactly. The most scandalous of text messages.
107 viewers on Twitch. That's awesome, because we're also streaming on YouTube. So we probably have like 200 plus viewers right now.
No, it's just the exact same viewers on each one.
Oh, yeah, sure. Someone on the YouTube, tell me how many viewers we have. When we're doing this restream thing, we can't actually see the number of viewers we have.
The YouTube.
On the YouTubes. Not on Force of Will Ruler School, though. Not on my channel. Which, by the way, if you want to go watch some really good quality content, you should go subscribe to Force of Will Ruler School on YouTube. It's a little plug.
Wait, +2/+2.
Oh, it would have been exactly lethal if he chooses the +2/+2 and then Viola's it for 11 and then 8. Yeah, that's sure. 32 people on YouTube,
right.
so 139
Plus
YouTube.
+2. I'm bad at math. It's fine.
He played a second Dragon Lord's Breath. Hi, Aaron. Sorry you couldn't make it. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. Hope you're feeling okay.
I'm sorry I lost out for you, Dad.
David Hartley. How's it going, bud? From across the pond? What time is it there? Like 9, 10 p.m., 11 p.m.? I wonder how the other top 4 game is going. It looks like it's potentially finished. So it's IU or Keurig in the finals versus the winner of Chamimi and Time Spinning Witch. So this is going to be interesting to see what comes out on top. Let me see if I can get Steph's attention to find out while we're waiting. Trying to find out what we're going to have. David Hartley, I don't play this game. No idea what's happening. It's just open. It's just gone. So I think one of the things that we had to like, I guess one of the, what am I saying? One of the things that I think that game, yeah, I know that. I'm saying, what am I saying? I think one of the things that definitely gave Ryan the time that he needed was just that really slow start. Leaving the table to gain some time. You are allowed to request a bathroom break.
Yeah.
Ice Loon.
It's just a time extension.
Yeah. Yeah, I also have never seen Ryan like hasn't taken a potty break at least once every time.
Ryan goes to the bathroom between like every round.
Pretty much, because he drinks water like constantly.
I don't.
It's okay. So the question becomes really in this next time. I guess I can pause the clock. I'll pause the clock real quick. Is the fact that if Chamimi has that slow of a start, like, because I felt like Ryan was in control for most of that game, despite his like heavy green start.
Yeah, he didn't. Man, it's really hard because
they have a 5-minute time extension, so it looks like they're. And Ryan Miles bumping my camera as always. I'll be right back.
Go kill a boy. You got it.
I'm guessing we're getting 2 destruction in the portal and we're losing 2 boomerangs maybe. I don't know, boomerang kind of kept you in there for a minute. What comes out of it?
It's a tough choice. I didn't do it this time! It was me. Stop putting me on stream and I won't pump it.
Maybe Ruin Stories because it costs like mana. There's too much mana in this match. But
Maybe. You tell me.
It's also like one of your only ways to like deal with some of my nonsense.
Yeah, Chamimi's Zoo go wide with dudes.
If you cast it for 0 mana.
It doesn't have like the biggest creatures, but it has the like green good stuff. It's better. It's still crooked, but I don't know how much you want to.
No, it wouldn't have. It was only 2 attacks that resonated. Jamie doesn't count. It fucks.
Aaron, you need to like never stop talking to Ryan about how good Ultra Awakening is.
Everyone just needs to continuously tell Ryan how good Ultra Awakening is.
Yeah.
Just like until he's dead.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to make him a beverage if he wins this match. I'm going to make him a beverage and I'm going to call it the Ultra Awakening. Green go wide deck with a bunch of creatures. It's kind of a mid-rangey deck. They were just discussing sideboard stuff over there. Ryan trying to call the shots of what Steven's going to bring in or bring out.
Steven and I kind of did that too. Steven looked down at my 6 and he was like, 3 Arrow Trap, 3 Scarlet's Agony. I was like, yes.
I mean, you can see the lists, so it doesn't really matter. You mean, like, knowing, yeah. So Ryan was saying that he thinks that the Ruin Story probably comes out of Steven's deck because 2 will is a little bit too much in this matchup because it's pretty will intensive.
Disappointed in me. Every match I sat down for,
he died a little inside.
I have to yell plus Ultra and flip the table. Oh, God, no. I swear, though.
Any news on Keurig versus IU? I am trying to see who won that.
But yeah, no, playing Gil in this format's like way too stressful. No one ever do it. You're gonna get white hairs.
Can you find out who won between Keurig versus IU in top 4? Are they still
Did you see? So my day 2 Worlds deck was 2
Just ask.
4 Spirit Stone, 4 Chamini Stone, 2.
I have someone going to go check and see how it went for the other match. I think they're done. Keurig versus IU is not a very fast match and is very heavily favored towards IU.
No, that's what. So my locals, we had a friend who started playing.
Oh, they're still playing? Oh, interesting. Keurig versus IU is still playing?
Yeah, so the 97?
97, yep. Well, 97 people registered for the event.
Gotcha.
And then actual players that made it were 84. Because we had a bunch of people who like couldn't show up.
Gotcha. So the Keurig list does have cross counter.
Yeah, they were. We put that exact same matchup with these exact same players on stream round 9, and it was a very uphill battle for Joey, and then he just got TO'd.
Yeah, but like I was saying earlier, we have a friend. I have a friend of mine who came here, one of my locals, and he just started playing like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I didn't mean to refresh. Whoops. Let me change the timer on screen.
A couple weeks ago, and then we, what we ended up doing
We have
was
about 5 minutes left on time.
I told him, I was like, the only matchup you need to worry about is Gil. It's probably your hardest matchup because of how much Lorite recycling they have. Every other matchup, just do what your deck's designed to do.
Right.
And then you'll probably just win. And they lost like 3 mirror matches. They're still playing.
That's a Winds of Vitality, Magic Boomerang, Hippo, Fairy. I don't think another Beast, so that Hippo is significantly less live.
He kept in Boomerang. That's interesting. I guess to
Bounce his own
recycle Lorite.
Lorites. Because, I mean, like, Ryan is never going to bounce them once they're on board. Speaker Stone, Fairy turn 1. Yep, he doesn't have the access to the Hippo because he doesn't have a Beast, so he might as well play the Fairy.
I mean, he could play the Hippo.
Speaker Stone again for Ryan up the top. It does have the idol to back it up, though, so it's okay.
To go get Ryan some nutty buddies. This is a much better start for Steven, and then we're going to see Steven's playstyle of how he likes to just keep mana open and play reactively and then push in damage via.
So just playing the second stone and pass. Second Speaker Stone.
And Ryan's a god.
I think you use the Energize here, right? You use the Energize here over the Time Spinning Witch into Idol? Or maybe you just use Time Spinning Witch into Idol just to draw a card.
So he has another Idol. I think you just drop the Idol.
Well, if he has Beyond the Threshold of Time, you could cast it here. If you use the Time Spinning Witch will to convert, because then you still have the Energize to pay if there's a Ruin Story cast.
Ryan wouldn't get Ryan wouldn't get.
So, yeah, just drawing up the Time Will. I don't know what he produced.
Probably blue because he has the distortion. But
he can just actually use the floating blue. He can just use the floating blue. Oh, he is going to play the distortion. He doesn't have access to time, though, at this point.
I think he has a second distortion in hand. Fine, there's second idol. He run in Scarlet's Agonies. Trebion.
IU1 just finished 2-0. So it's going to be IU versus Chamimi or Time Spinning Witch in the finals. That's interesting. So the Viola comes in.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
Pass.
Real good.
Call Stone. The 3 Speaker Stones being protected from the Mosasaurus plays. 32. 26.
Yeah, there's
potentially.
The I feel like you just Agony the Viola.
Does he have an Agony in hand?
He does.
That might be what the play is.
I don't see why you don't, because it forces him.
He's going to just take it.
One animal.
Now what he could do is here, there's no reason to, I mean, what am I saying? There's no reason to distortion here.
Chrono Break, definitely not. Whoa, 3 Speaking Stones in a row for
Steven. Yeah.
Gonna get him. No Mosasauruses for you.
A Lorite to cancel the Goddard and the upkeep.
Of Chrono Break.
That's really unfortunate. Because now, like, so let me talk. So this is really unfortunate for him because of the fact that now he's used to the God Art. So God Art doesn't care if you resolve it. God Art only cares if you activate it in the form of using it for the game. So now that that Lorite's done, one, the stones are safe from Mosasaurus, which is Ryan's gameplay number 1, and gameplay number 2 is that he distortion of times, and he's used it. So now he has to get to a time spinning witch, get to a flip, get to double God Art, and like that, and like time spinning witch's God Art can just be low righted. So you can just be like, well, okay. So this is very quickly turning into Steven's game, especially with all this early game aggression. Before recovery, we're going to have a flying 10-10 fairy. That's what you agony.
Yeah.
It doesn't have access to green.
4
Ooh.
speaking stones in a row. Steven Holsheiser.
Come back.
Where come at?
1,000? Yep.
Oh, just on
Agony comes down here,
Spells it here.
Cards in hand?
forcing Ryan to spend more resources.
Because he can't be chrono breaked again, so.
Oh yeah, because Ryan's not even close to being able to do a flip.
I guess Ryan could Dragon Lord, but the fairy back. Which is probably pretty good. He'd have to have second Pharaoh spell. He's down to 3 in hand. Produce. Oh no, he already produced the time to play the Agony.
Probably saves it. Oh, he's already used green, so he can't flash in the Lorite.
If he saves it, he's trying to bounce down 2 things at the same time.
Well, he still does access to have Lorite. He can convert the blue into a green off the idol, and then flash in Lorite at end of turn, and then go to his turn and play Disciples. That's a potential play line. Takes the 10.
So he's going to go to 16.
That's a low life total for Ryan to be at this early in the game. Take 6, down to 10.
Wins.
Actually, I think IU has a pretty solid Chimimi matchup.
Yeah, they just have to hit their Lorites at pretty critical points, but it should be fine. Because with the Chimimi matchup, you can you can glint before you try doing anything.
Right.
So
And they don't have a way to recycle the Lorites like Gil does.
Ooh.
Lorite flash in, or the Disciples flash in.
Yeah, he's gonna
Convert to a
bring in
green.
his own Lorite.
Now here's the position where in Ryan's turn we probably see a Lorite Disciples of his own fly crash into the other Disciples to get the other Disciples off the board and gain 9.
Yep.
Which is a pretty strong turn for Ryan. It's actually a pretty pretty good crackback here on this play
and
line.
then he also drew the arrow trap there,
which
so
is
that's gonna
excellent
protect
to deal
him.
with the flyer. And he can protect the Disciples. Finally seeing that second time stone, so that's pretty solid. Now do you use...
So the worst case scenario is he has second Disciples, I think.
He's only had 2 cards
But,
in hand,
yeah.
so it's pretty
But I'm
unlikely.
pretty sure he's fine either way.
And you use Time Spinning Witch to convert for the Disciples, right? So you do green with that, 1 Time Stone, 1 Speaking Stone, leave up green-blue Time Spinning Witch for your opponent's turn.
And then
Play the Disciples, get the 9/9 Flying Swiftness Barrier Precision Drain. Kill the Disciples.
oh, that's weird. So that taps him out.
Doesn't tap him out.
That gives, no, I'm thinking of what Steven's next turn.
Oh,
could be.
sure.
So he could Forest Med to get back the 7 Disciples.
Seems really risky.
If he crashes into it, is that lethal extension? I don't think so.
Oh, the problem is there's
Pretty
lethal
calm.
represented on board regardless.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's going to gain 9 from the Disciples, so be at
So
19.
he's going to go to 19.
Produce time mode.
He's going to tap out on green.
I'm about to fuck myself pretty hard. Everybody? Sorry, 10k.
Goes up to 19.
So he's gonna do this so he can hold up the Dragon Lord's breath. So
Yeah.
he can double bounce something.
Just put probably the fairy in hand, Viola to bottom.
Bottom, yeah.
And here's the weirdness about Lorites, is Lorites can block Lorites and neither of them die. Which is what's something that Ryan likes.
Yeah, and here he goes with the Dragon Lord's breath.
Before recovery, just
Yeah. Because again,
before draw. Oh no, this is devastating. So before draw, he does this.
Yeah,
He puts
yeah.
the fairy on back. Oh no, puts the fairy back to hand, and then Viola on bottom. Don't you just sack it instead?
You can't. He stepped out.
You just sack the Viola. It's free.
Oh, sack the Viola?
You sack the Viola for free.
I mean, if there's anything to
So
hit
then you
this
can.
grave.
Doesn't matter because you just want it engraved for Forest Meditation, so we can grab it
get
back
it back.
whenever. That feels like that would have been the better play. Just like if you're gonna put it on bottom of the deck, I might as well put it in graveyard. I'll see it sooner.
Yeah, that's
Because
fair.
Jamimi doesn't have a deck search,
Four
right?
options. No.
So like that, he's never gonna
Yeah.
see that Viola again at this point. There's that first Spirit Stone. Yeah, I think the better play would have actually been to just sack the Viola and get rid of 2 cards. Like, it doesn't necessarily, sure, it's not like hitting anything of relevance,
Yeah.
but like you're never seeing that Viola ever again, so you might as well use the effect while you have it.
Yeah.
And then you actually have it engraved to be able to recycle it later with Spirit Meditation. I just think that would have been the better option. I mean, obviously there's a Disciples engraved to be able to Spirit Meditation, and that's a little bit better, but like, options, right?
Yeah.
So Ryan is tapped out this turn. We could see the crackback of the Forest Meditation into potentially bring a Resonator back, draw a card, like pay 2, bring Disciples back, draw a card. Oh, he just had one in hand. That's fine.
There's the other Disciples. Yeah.
He's gonna crack into the Disciples back. It's just Disciple Wars. Swinging for 1, down to 8.
What did he kill Lorite with?
I don't know.
He only paid. Oh, Sandstorm. There it is.
Correct.
Found
It's
it.
free.
It's like
call.
looking for the card. I was like, where'd it go?
So, just gonna get into the Disciple War. Whose Disciples are more disciple-y? This board state is definitely not unwinnable for Ryan. He has to answer that Disciples now.
I mean, he's at
Or Time Distortion.
So he's at 3 cards in hand. He's played 2 Lorites already, and Forest Med is not quick cast.
Sure.
So I think there's an argument to play Dinosaur Surfacing and shoot Lorite
Mosasaurus to
Disciples.
kill Disciples
Yeah.
and just have the 10-5 or the 15-10.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that play line.
He also just has a Mosa in hand.
Just hard cast it. Well, you can still leave one
Either way, it's gonna get. I think you take the one from your deck because
Yeah, because then you have another
the
one.
only way for Jamimi to deal with it is Lorite.
So you might as well have a backup one in hand
Yeah.
when there's not a worry about a cancel spell.
Yeah.
I think
like-
the only potential argument for doing it the other way is to this turn hard cast the Moza, next turn double time produce with a flip,
Sure.
and then do the Awakening on the other side where it's even cheaper. So then you go Moza, you have Moza time spinning Moza, and you're just like, here's a bunch of stuff. Because Moza, you have to pay 5 for it out of hand.
Yeah,
and he's got will to be able
I'd
to
personally just play the Dinosaur.
surfacing.
Yeah, because it means you don't draw Mosa, or you have a smaller percentage to draw,
Draw
Mosa.
Moza. Yeah. Well, here comes the surfacing coming in.
It's also, and like Aaron said, it's only 4 mana this turn, so
Right.
should the Disciples. Yep. Has to have Lorite, and he knows one
Wait,
card.
how does
in hand.
it only 4? Oh, you use time to
Time to language.
My brain. I can't math. It's fine.
And then he knows one of the cards in hand is the Fairy.
Sure.
So it's a 2 cards, has to be a 3rd Lorite. He picked the Mosa effect to destroy Arrested Resonator rather than the Freeze effect.
Solid effects. I would put Moza on the screen, but apparently that's the one card I don't have.
Yikes. You have Dinosaur Surfacing?
I have
but
Surfacing
not
up.
Mosasaurus.
I don't know why it didn't show up in my like pool of cards, so I apologize. I'll have to fix that for next time.
You're showing a grave. It's okay.
So, I mean, Ryan Miles definitely not out of this game yet. It's an up.
I think Ryan's in a pretty
Strong
solid
position, yeah. Especially after having won game 1.
Yeah, because so he has three technically disciples left, which means 3 dudes with swiftness. Yeah, he's gonna go for a mini forest med play here.
Evil Elemental Uprising.
Do it.
The clutchest of plays.
Get him.
Does Ryan even play it?
I don't believe so.
Viola.
Ooh, hits the Viola.
That's just a... Don't you wait until the Steven Forest Meditation gets cast? Or I think he's casting it now before this trigger resolves off of the spirit searching.
It's less of a chance for him to draw like a fair spell. Yeah.
So you just do it now so it resolves, so then if he tries to go Forest Meditation, you just punish it. And the best thing is there's only 1 stone in there. Yeah, so it resolves, so that Viola is on board. So the best thing is this resolves, and there's a Spirit Stone for 1 stone, because he can't do 2 stones. And then the other one is Lorite's 7 Disciples, so he can hit the 1 Spirit Stone that's still in there, and the 7 Disciples. Yep. Gone. Yeah, and you don't want to risk him drawing a potential Lorite off of the Spirit Stone either. It's a solid play.
If he draws Lorite here,
he still
changes nothing. The thing is, you don't want to risk him drawing the Fair Spell, right?
Well, like yeah, that's true.
Because if he draws Lorite, it's the same thing, because he didn't sack. He's waiting to sack in response to the Forest Med and keep it as a threat. So you could still have the Lorite right now.
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does either.
Because the Mosasaurus didn't get canceled.
That's just the argument for the play line.
That actually kind of really messes with the play line of Steven here. So Ryan just taking his bad matchup and really having what he needs.
Yeah.
Finding the little the chinks in the armor for Chinimi.
If you want to see the Kirikayu match,
it's already over.
Go to Swiss Round 9
and just
watch
it. Yeah, and just watch it
from yesterday.
Because it's exactly
the same 2 people.
Same 2 people, same 2 decks, same outcome. Casting the Spirit Meditation. This is risky. Disciples and draw a card. I think you still just banish the response,
I think he's
right?
trying to bait that he has a Lorite in hand.
I think you still just banish
Oh,
it.
you definitely banish because it's like a blowout if you do, and it's not countered.
You grab the 2nd Disciples, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, you just get those out of the game. Didn't have it, so he just gets to draw a card. That's pretty gnarly for Ryan.
So now that that's gone, he only has 2 7 Disciples left, which means that he only has 2 Swiftnesses.
Any sacrificed a stone to do it.
But so the lack of Swiftness puts 1,800 for Ryan at like a very comfortable life total.
Especially having his own Disciples, which are eventually going to start gaining him life back.
Yep. And then he's out, again, the 2 Lorites, so he's running out of like triggers, especially if Ryan can somehow kill that Lorite.
A Hippo.
Reveal.
Having a beast to reveal with a BK. Passing turn there. You can hear the sigh in Steven's voice.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, Ryan already has an unpaid invite to Worlds, so just making it to top 4 means that Steven actually also has an unpaid invite to Worlds, because top 3 have paid invites, or top 3 have invites in this match.
Yeah.
So not only does he get a chance to play for it, but Ryan simply existing means that there are 3 invites to a top 4 of 3 players who don't have invites.
We've already added to our chat. We now have Steven, Kaltuma, and Joey Schilling.
They all have invites back to Worlds. Whether or not it's a paid or not is the question. I should be in that chat,
No. Talk to Stephanie.
but I haven't paid invite to World.
Talk to Stephanie.
I don't actually want to.
That's good. Good.
I have enough group chats in my life.
It's just a love chat between me and Ryan.
So Ryan has the Mosasaurus here. There's nothing really real reason for him to play the Mosasaurus.
Yeah, like he doesn't need to freeze
Black
anything.
Tears. That card coming in quick. Just take 3 for 1. And Steven doesn't have any way to deal with it. Just gets rid of those cards. Steven has what? How many cards in hand? 5 at this point? 4?
He didn't even pay the 1 off the Speaking Stone. I guess he's still... No, because he already tapped. I don't know. I feel like you pay the 1.
The 1 black and the 1 blue?
No.
Oh, to like draw a card?
Yeah.
Swinging in for 15. Gets there.
I think Steven's kind of a...
Down to 3,500. Distortion of Time. If he doesn't have a Lorite to stop this Distortion of Time, that's probably game.
No, he can't Chrono Break this turn.
Oh, he doesn't have, right, he doesn't have double God Art.
Yeah.
I think that's a second Black Tears in his hand. It's an Evil Elemental Uprising, which at this point doesn't matter, I don't think. That Black Tears just getting a lot of value for Steven. Yeah, I don't know why he didn't pay 1 in response. Maybe he just didn't think about it.
Again, he's probably staring death in the face.
It's totally fair.
It is
Flash in at the end of turn, we flash in a Viola.
34. 49 minus 15.
Sure, that math checks out. So swinging in for 6. Takes it, or thinks about taking it. Gonna flash in his own Viola.
Yep.
And just try to trade into it. Or trade up. Because his Viola will be bigger.
Yeah. And it'll force him to use a Winds of Vitality if he needs to keep the Viola.
Which can just get canceled, or he could just bounce the Viola back to hand.
Yep.
So Ryan's sitting pretty comfy here.
3 cards in hand?
3 cards.
Oh, there's an arrow trap.
Oh, the spice.
It's going to Winds of Vitality. I imagine we see time spinning, which convert to green.
Yeah, response, arrow trap.
Arrow trap in response to wins.
That's time and round, guys. That player's turn 0.
Oh, they're in time. Apparently they didn't get a time. I guess I just missed a clock. Time on rounds. Steven is currently turn 0.
So he'll get 3 additional turns.
Starting with turn 0.
Oh, but Ryan's up a game, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's also representing
Lethal, yeah.
Viola to save the Viola.
It won't help it.
It's still just a trade.
No, arrow trap will still kill it.
Oh, right. Yeah, because it'll deal 12 damage.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, let me.
Ryan, guys, pause. We're just trying to get a confirmation about what happened here.
Do you think the damage is going through? Yeah.
So you Viola target Viola?
Yeah.
So that gives it flying. So
Oh, it's doing that arrow trap.
Oh, I totally missed that too.
Okay, so...
That's going to change a lot.
Yeah.
And the reason why we have to correct this is it actually is mandatory because, like, arrow trap deals damage at resolution. So when giving
Play
flying,
your own Viola, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, no, for some reason I did the same.
so it's actually still going to kill it. It's actually going to kill it even harder than it did before.
Then we'll, in response,
Good catch, Charlie.
Sack, remove, distortion, and...
It just
No, it wouldn't be a 14-14 because he did the... So he played...
so he did. All of this is happening in response to the Winds of Vitality.
So he Viola blocked, and then he...
Pumps with Winds of
Pumps with
Vitality,
Winds.
responds with Arrow Trap, responds
Arrow
with
Trap,
Viola.
responds with Viola.
Viola makes it a
puts to
flyer,
an
being an 8/8, and then
Arrow
the
Trap
Arrow Trap resolves, dealing 12 because it's
and then it
flying.
dies.
So the Winds of Vitality never gets to resolve.
Get some boys.
Yep, some boards.
Get some boys. Okay.
So just to put some pressure on board, we see the Yokai Festival come out. I know you're talking about whose Viola, which Viola. The Viola that was swinging into Ryan's Viola is not, would have died before the Winds of Vitality resolved.
Tapped out.
First time on?
Yes. Yes.
Judgment, we're going to see a double distortion here. Oh, no, he's just going to Mosasaurus. He has to target one of his own stones. That's an interesting decision.
Yeah, on my
Okay, cool.
Oh, he Viola Sax got rid of his distortions.
Right,
Engrave.
right. I knew that much. Like, the play line that it looked like Ryan was doing was to distortion. Oh, he's just, like, putting a bunch of bodies on board and locking down Will. Because that was turn 0, turn 1, turn 2. So Steven has to deal 18 damage in this board state with only 4 Will this turn.
Yes.
And I don't think that's even possible.
I don't believe it is either.
So Ryan was just like, I'm going to just establish the biggest board possible and make it so I can't die.
Yep. Unfortunately, he went to time because I feel like he elephants here.
What does Mike get him with only 3 Will available?
Winds of Vitality.
I mean, he can't kill. Steven has to win game 2, and then they'd go to sudden death, and it'd be 3 turns, sudden death in game 3 if Steven was able to pull it out this turn, which I highly doubt it. Yeah, he has to win this one, and then they get 3 turns and then sudden death.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden my hand was just like, look,
So Ryan Miles getting his proposed worst matchup, and finding a way to make it work.
It's sweating, man. I feel like you got it. Like, my cards are on the table, man.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to think what you could even have. It's got to be like triple Winds of Vitality. That's like the only way.
How's it the only way? I mean, I was like, we are pressed to get to that.
Some playful banter.
I don't know how you do it.
So Mosasaurus has to target 3 stones, and only 2 of the stones that Steven had could be targeted. So he had to target his own thing. Ultimately, it didn't matter because he's just trying to like cast to get a body on board. And sack draw card. Sack draw card. Spirit Stones. Trying to get in the work. Did he draw Disciples? With no Lorite, though. That doesn't do anything, right?
It gives it swiftness. It's a 4th body, but he has 4 blockers, so it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't do enough. 4 of Steven Stones. Yeah.
Like a lot more.
Unfortunately, the fairy doesn't. I don't know what his runes are, but I don't think any of those runes are going to be helpful
I'm
in this board
assuming it
state.
would be elephants.
And he's got elephants and rapid fire me
Yes. That.
to deal 4 damage to everything, which doesn't do anything against Mosasaurus. Mosasaurus just go okay.
Yep.
And that point in time, you can trade the Mike into the Viola, but it doesn't do anything.
Literally racking my brain for like any combination of free will lethal. I can't come up with anything, and that's what's like terrifying me the most. Is there something I don't know that's coming and he's gonna give me? Oh my god.
Here you go, Jeremy.
What is?
I got it. That's why you can
Just target your opponent's stones.
6 times.
There you go.
One conflagration.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to.
It's Whirlwind. It's fine. Steven's just going to rip Whirlwind Conflagration here and just like target Ryan 6 times, and Ryan's going to go, yep, tapped out, can't answer it. And then we're done.
Yeah.
His ruler is actually Isis.
Yeah.
Just change it.
It's like, I got you.
Yep, you got it. You cast it on 3 will.
Starts
5.
pulling out all his cards. There are a bunch of cheaty faces behind him.
Yeah. Steven knows that he can't do it, so Ryan actually takes that game, takes the match 101.
It'll be Ryan versus Kaltuma.
Yes,
IU
Time Spinning Witch versus IU in finals. So we had 4 green decks in top 8, and then a deck that is blue that splashes green, and then a weird 5-color combo deck. And the 2 decks that made it to the fine are the blue deck that splashes green, and which has low rights and ways to kind of recycle them, and then the combo deck. And I actually think that Ryan is not favored in that matchup.
In TSW, he has to keep the Lorite, but then like they can still do the same thing that they would do against other people.
Right. I don't think he's favored. I think
it's really weird. It's a really weird match.
It is a very weird match. Should be fun though. We haven't seen it on. We haven't seen this all stream. So, Time Spinning Witch versus IU for finals. We'll give these guys a little bit of a break. I think that really just came down to the fact that we saw. So in top 4 against you, we just saw that Cal just had everything, or not Cal. We saw that Steven just had everything all game. Like it's just every single time it seemed his hands just had what he needed. And I think he just burned the luck on that playing against you, because it just seemed like in that it was just Ryan having everything that he needed.
Yeah, I think he played a little bit more conservatively. He probably could have gone for more like aggressive turns, but
Potentially.
I think he played a little bit too conservatively. The other thing that Ryan has that I do not is flyers. So for me, for that deck, it's really hard for me to stop the 4/4 fairy. And
Sure.
like I have to swing into it. Whereas it's weird. It's really weird because like Viola is really bad for me, but then I have the fair spells for the quick cast and so on and so forth. But
yeah, it is going to be interesting. The other thing is this is the coagulation of the prophecy of Ryan Miles and the fact that Ryan Miles constantly talks bad about IU, but can't beat it on stream.
I cannot wait for that.
So
to
this
happen.
is the finals, and it's Ryan versus Time Spinning Witch.
Yeah, I've never.
If only
thought-
he was playing an Ultra Awakening.
Like a bunch of people say, like even if IU's bad if people are ready for it.
Sure.
But then if people prepare for it, but then if people don't prepare for it, IU's good.
Yeah.
I just think the deck, like, if the deck doesn't have green in it, it has to have green or flyers.
Yeah,
And if it
otherwise
has
IU just
neither
pushes
of those,
damage.
IU kills you on turn 3 every game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then after that, it would just be... Yeah, but then like with that, you just have to play around the green, but then the only green deck that can recycle the stuff that keeps stopping you is Gil.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take pictures. Can I just take pictures of top 4 real quick? So... Right now, I just want to take the pictures of everyone because I have to like bounce as soon as we're done. So, okay, we will be right back. We're gonna jump into the finals here in just a minute because everybody's kind of ready to go. I just gotta go take some pictures. I'll be right back. It didn't push.
Oh, no.
I told you it would be back quick. Everyone else have the audio and video not in sync. I guess I can just refresh the stream real quick. Okay, change the title of the stream to day 2. It should say the title of the stream is day 2. Anyway, we're streaming again. Hi, everybody. We are about to be jumping into finals here, which will be Cal Tuba on IU versus Ryan Miles on his Time-Spinning Witch control deck.
Ooh.
90 minutes on the clock, not that they're going to need it.
Hopefully not.
Fingers crossed. Update the text. And we're going to go ahead and just, it still says day 1 on the Twitch. It should have been updated. Maybe I just didn't update it. My apologies. I'll fix it in post. And we're just going to go over to the table. So this matchup is going to be very interesting, and I say that in the sense that Time Spinning Witch has this version of Time Spinning Witch has Lorites,
Yes.
which is great for against IU, but it's also slower, and Time Spinning doesn't care as much about having its stones locked, because ultimately IU needs 1 stone to kill you, and it's a white stone. So
Well, there are a couple things here with that. Ryan has so 2 things. One, Ryan needs his green stuff. Like, that's how you win this matchup. Is
Sure.
all the green cards in your deck,
Right.
Not the blue stuff. And so you have the Lorites, which is a natural like IU counter, quote unquote. And then I think the main thing that he's going to be looking for is probably going to be the Violas, because Viola's a blocker that he can use
absolutely.
against IU. And so, like, if he gives the IU Pierce onto it, like the Resuscitating Will, so on and so forth, it's just, it won't push the full damage, and then he can Disciples into more kills, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah,
if he can stick a Lorite, get Disciples out there, and then get, like, Viola blocks in, he can get his life total essentially out of range. Because after they go for, like, their God Art, and then they pitch their Souls, all that good stuff, the deck kind of, like, peters out.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Raymu Miles.
Good old Raymu. I think it's because I think the reason why any people had a weirdness with the delay is because my microphone decided to be picking up weird, so I apologize for that. It should be fixed now. Ryan Miles, we joke that Ryan is Raymu.
Ooh, Kaltuma, first seed.
Oh yeah, let me change that real quick. Kaltuma, first seed. And this was one of the interesting things that I was looking at, I was talking with Michael, is the fact that being how diverse this top 8 was, and the fact that we had combo, control, mid-range, and aggro decks all in the same space, the matchups in your bracket actually were super relevant.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably the most relevant that matchups have been, like,
That
bracket
was-
matchups have been, like, ever in
Yeah,
Force of
that
Will.
was my thing going into it, is I felt that Steven was going to be my hardest matchup, because then if Ryan won, I was going to play TSW.
Which I think is, you think you're favored?
Yeah, personally. And then against Cal, if Cal won out, or the other IU player won out, then I'd be playing IU.
Right.
But yeah, so... But yeah, the brackets were definitely really interesting. We were looking at them a lot last night.
Yeah. And I'd go ahead and push this live on Facebook here.
First or second?
W versus Tuma. Are you choosing to go second?
He probably wants to... So if he hits turn 1 Possession Stone, he forces Ryan to hit a turn 1 green Source?
Yeah. And if he doesn't,
Or no,
then he
turn
just,
2 green Source.
and if he doesn't,
Sprinting
then-
Flame Horse doesn't exist anymore.
correct. Although you can play this wonderful card called Allosaurus.
No, do not play Chrono
From this-
Researcher Allosaurus.
Yeah, excuse me.
Please-
or
please
you just
do.
play Dr.
Please
Mermaid,
don't.
it's fine.
Dr. Mermaid's actually insane.
But it's not played in this matchup.
Yeah.
Or no, actually, I think Cal is playing Dr. Mermaid, I think, in his list.
I believe he is, yeah.
It's a solid card. It's just the new, for IU anyway, it's just the new, worse, but it's also better. It's the new Flute's Water Dragon.
Yes.
It's just the replacement for Flute's Water Dragon. It's more susceptible to Lorite, though. There's nothing more satisfying than they call Stone and then activate Dr. Mermaid, and you're like, Lorite.
So we'll
have to see how it goes. For those of you who are wondering, I'll go ahead and put Dr. Mermaid up here on stream.
Reimu is anything but random, Aaron.
This is our Lord and Savior, Dr. Mermaid.
Lord and Savior, Dr. Mermaid.
She looks like she's about to have an Ultra Awakening.
That's...
Gotta have a little fun here. Stop spreading propaganda.
Can I put a Ultra Awakening in Kaltuma's deck really quick? Just gonna give Ayu 2020.
Or you just cast the spell that makes her a 2020.
Oh shoot! End of possession. Broken.
Except no one plays it.
You're right, because it's really bad.
Isn't it like 3 will?
Blue to quick cast.
Is it a quick cast?
Yeah. That's what makes it bad.
It's not gonna matter.
It can be fair.
I just
Yeah.
lose on turn 4.
We're talking about this card. It's not a good card.
Like
Okay.
Ryan. Yeah.
So finals, finals is always 90 minutes.
Yeah. Finals is 90. Top four, so third and fourth is
Is
now
660?
60. No, top 8 is 60, and then Swiss is 50.
Well, 6 in the CR is technically
Is
60,
60,
but it's up
yeah,
to
yeah.
TO discretion.
And most
and
TOs
no
do,
TOs
yeah.
are going to do 50, 60 minutes.
Play against
Cal has plot armor according to Ryan.
Yes.
Because he
do
can never beat IU on stream. So we'll have to see if he breaks the curse. If he does break the curse, we'll just have to give him a giant Ultra Awakening. He will have awakened. He'll go plus Ultra.
So for those on stream who may not know, Ryan, I talked to Ryan about how many games Ultra Awakening was winning me, and in the sense of games, basically matches, because I almost never go to 3 games. And so throughout the event, he kept saying, like, you know what, talk to me about how good it is when you top 8. And then I went and top 8, and I was like, Ryan,
and I love that card too.
it's
so
time to have a talk.
we just pester Ryan with it.
possession stones, but you can
Here we
draw.
go.
That's fine. Right. That's all time stones. You get all time stones, I get all time
You-
stones.
Yeah. they just want- This is going to be very interesting. Potentially a very long or potentially a very short finals.
I really do like the Time Stone edition with IU, because it gets distortion,
Yeah.
which is
So you can actually just time
it's so good. It basically gives IU swiftness, I guess, in a sense.
So I see a Falcon Spirit in hand, choosing to. I can't tell if. So everybody's had a little bit different mulligan style. Is it the cards that you're putting on the table that you're shipping, or the cards that you keep in your hands that you're shipping?
Me?
No, just cow for cow.
Oh, I have no idea.
Looks like the cards that he was
He's-
having
he
in
was
hand
holding,
that he's
is
keeping.
he shipping. I personally put them on the table if I'm shipping them.
I'll draw first. Yeah. I'll start. Yeah.
I'm not starting you guys. Alright, thanks for the tournament, and you guys are not even into me. I'm getting a game trigger. Just
And 90 minutes begins now. We are officially in the finals of the first 2019 competitive season WGPQ here in Northfield, Minnesota. Games
I'm
and
sorry,
Geek.
it's 2018.
I know, but it's of the 2019 season, so let it be.
My win rate would be judging myself.
Wait, no, Ryan has still turned.
First turn Time Stone, or first turn Speaker Stone.
Yeah. That's decent for him to see. Lightning Cave. Okay,
That-
so now the Viola thing's off the table.
Yeah, Cal sees Lightning Cave a lot. We saw him get it in 2 turns, within 2 turns, both games yesterday on stream in round 9. Lightning Cave just says if you're not blue, you can't have flying or swiftness
It's 2018, but it's the 2019 season.
because it's competing for a world championship, the invite to Worlds in 2019. Thinking about flashing in Lorite during the end phase. So here's the thought process here. Probably is flashing the Lorite here. IU really doesn't have a way to deal with that answer now. Just like take advantage of the free will while you have it, and then like set up a Disciples to start like gaining 9, gaining 9, gaining 9.
The only problem is he can still do it on this turn if he's not going to do anything else.
Exactly.
Because Disciples isn't going to gain swiftness, thanks Lightning Cave.
Oh right.
So the only thing he can't really like set up a big Disciples play. He has to slam it and then gain. So I think he might just play Disciples on its own. And just try and do like his own kind of setup plays here until he can get something else. I feel because like you want to keep the Lorite here because you can't get the disciple.
Well, he's gonna go ahead and distortion.
You can't get the disciple stuff. So I feel like Cal Judgment's here.
Energized Judgment. Being at 1 will for the remainder
Wait,
of
he
the
doesn't
game.
have
That's
white.
not white.
Wait, he
No,
doesn't
you
have
definitely
white.
don't
No,
Judgment here.
You can't, yeah. Unless, can you get, depend on what his hand is.
Yeah, there's a stone. That's a shoal stone, so you can make it rain. But it's not a white source. That's the relevant piece
So there's
here.
also the debate that you Judgment, God Art Resuscitating Will, and then call a stone on the next turn. And then just keep calling stones.
Yeah, I don't
Because it gets
agree
the
with
God
that
Art
play.
out of the way.
It does, but I don't agree with that play. Because if the IU gets tapped for calling for stone, then that's when Ryan just starts to go, okay, time distortion, time distortion, time distortion. Ryan sitting at 4 will potentially here. No play from Cal on his turn 2.
So you can make it Thunderstorm. Do you know if Cal main Silent Mermaid?
I do not believe he does.
Okay.
4 sides. I don't think he has it on the
Ooh.
sideboard either.
Ooh.
Silent Mermaid is the card that if it's thunderstorming, your opponent can't cast anything during your turn. It's this card right here.
Look at it. Beautiful.
Finally seeing that Chaos Stone. So Ryan hitting green time Chaos. It's green Chaos time.
It's Green Chaos time. Got the Idol of Magic out for free, basically.
Yeah, just free.
Yeah.
Going up to 6 will next turn, potentially. That's a lot to play around with. Hitting the Possession Stone, so we finally see the white source coming in.
We are currently in finals.
We are. It says on. Okay. It's green. I can't see that. Using his own distortion of time here into a thought control.
Ooh. Can try to grab
A Lorite.
Alright. But I think Ryan has 2 in hand.
Probably. About to
That's
find
what it
out.
looks like. Ooh, Ryan can also use. Ryan can actually use Dragon Lord's Breath to recycle his Lorites.
Like cast the Lorite here.
No, I don't think he does it here. I think he just lets him take a Lorite. But he has the DLB in hand, so he can, like, Lorite. Okay, I'm going to God's Art. I'm going to bounce Lorite.
So next turn, this turn you Mosasaurus, right? Potentially?
1,000%.
Well,
or you Chrono
actually,
Break.
Or you Chrono Break, then Time Spinning Witch? Yeah, then Drop Mosa?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right call here. Chrono Break, lock him down to 1 stone and a blue. And then drop the Mosasaurus next turn, lock him
Yeah,
down
like
again.
1,000% sure you Chrono Break here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hand is Keys' call, Mosasaurus.
He's going to get rid of the
Keys' call. That's an interesting decision.
Oh, he has Glint in hand. He's just going to Glint the Lorites.
He doesn't have the will for it.
Well, on the following. He
won't,
He
'cause of Chrono
assumes
Break.
on the following turns that he's going to Glint the Lorites.
Eventually.
Yeah.
During the upkeep, he's doing this
Cast
during
it.
the upkeep
Yeah.
for time distortion of time.
Oh, so he can do like a double walk.
Yeah, exactly. Because what Mosasaurus says
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
your Mosasaurus says they skip it on the next recovery phase. And then your opponent skips recovery phase thanks to distort. Because then he gets an extra free hit. It's actually really smart. He gets an extra free hit of 15 damage with the Mosasaurus. That's just like uncontested.
Yep, here comes the Mosa. He's going to do his own Keys' call here. Or, maybe? Because he's not going to have the recovery anyway.
That's not a good idea.
But now he's tapped down, so he can't do... So if he has a second Mosa...
He has, yeah, a second Mosa or a surfacing.
Yeah.
Now he's just going to be like time walked for a very long time.
Yeah.
Keys' call coming in here to cancel the... Because the distortion happened, I think that's still fine.
Yep.
Because now Cal has 1 will for his turn, and now there's 3 stones that he can continually lock down.
Yeah.
So this sets, if there's another Mosa, gain 6 life with a white leaf.
Oh, broken.
Interesting card.
I've seen Whiteleaf come in.
So if you hit a Mosasaurus here, Io has to call Stone to get to 2-will. Then another Mosasaurus needs a tapped out.
Oh, there's the dinosaur surfacing.
Yeah, so this
What
is...
a god.
This is
Ryan
actually...
Miles.
Isn't this just end? Isn't this... Because dinosaur
There's the
surfacing
second
comes-
time Stone.
Because I think this is just over, right? Because 15 damage comes in with the second Mosasaurus, locking down the 3 stones, forcing an IU tap to go down to 2 stones. And then the other turn is another... It puts him at 1. It puts Cal at 1 life.
Well, yeah, he has to, yeah.
This is actually... That Whiteleaf actually saved him from being just killed by Mosasaurus
No,
swinging in.
He flashes it more right. Hear me out.
I'm not actually saying that's wrong. I actually think that might be the right call. It's just to flash in and get the poke when you have the advantage. Especially because he's got so much will.
I mean, if he's going to go down to 1, because he goes to 3, he flashes in Lorite and punch for 100.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's
and
the
then,
play.
And then kill him.
Yeah.
You just hold it up in case he plays any one blue thing and then flash it in.
Because he
turn.
will only have a maximum of 2 blue will, and he can't do judgment here.
Exactly.
So like the Lorites aren't going to do anything, and you just want to get that 1 damage in.
Yep. Yeah. Guys, this is really why Lorite's
this
broken.
stone. It is a possession stone. So
he
any
can.
card is
Wait, no,
alive.
he's gonna Glint Call Lorite.
He's
Oh
gonna,
no, Jormungandr! Ah!
Good old Yorm.
Got the blocker.
Not really, because there's just a Dragon
there's
Lord's
a
Breath.
Viola.
There's also a Dragon Lord's Breath.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just going to get bounced.
Alright, Ryan. I believe in you.
No, you don't even... You just flash in the
Wait.
Lord at the end of the turn here in response to the triggers,
Yeah.
right? And then in your turn, you Dragon Lord's Breath in response to the block, right?
I believe so. That sounds correct.
That sounds like exactly the correct play. There's no reason to, like, try to burn your time spending match on not Lorite.
Yeah.
You don't even... You can actually do both in the same turn. No. Yeah.
He's like...
You can just do both in this same
I
turn.
think... I don't know what he's afraid of.
With the 1
I
blue?
think he's just overthinking himself here.
Yeah.
2, he's trying to bring in Viola.
He's going to Viola
Yeah.
just to have even more damage.
Yeah.
He made Yorm a dragon.
The BM.
That's even better than killing with Lorite. But I mean, this is just over, right? There's nothing that you can do with.
Oh, I guess he might... I don't know.
What's for 1 blue at instant speed? What can Cal have?
Spinning Aqua Soul, cheat, and add Whiteleaf to hand, and then White.
And then still be dead?
Yeah.
I think this is over.
Yeah.
There's nothing that with 1 blue. I don't know. There's nothing in the deck that
Oh,
can do it.
yeah. I use Sword Strike. Yeah, I forget about that card. a
That
lot.
card could be real.
Hey, don't tell us about good cards, Aaron.
Bounce it back to hand. Yeah,
Okay,
Cal's like,
there's the
okay,
scoop.
I don't have the card. So there's the scoop. So Ryan getting game 1 very quickly. Nice little 10 minutes. So we have a nice little 80 minutes left to be able to play games 2 and 3. That's got to feel good for Ryan.
Being up a game, yeah, definitely. Especially since he Cal put him on the play.
Yeah. The turn 1, the Lightning Cave was fine, I think, because it stopped the Disciple train. But I think it just, like, Ryan just said, okay, I guess I'm just not playing Disciples.
Yeah.
Plot armor defeated. Ally of Justice Ryan. He's beating the curse. He is indeed. So I think the Yorm was like 100% just to be a blocker, right?
Yes. 1,000%. I'm pretty sure it was like a last ditch effort.
So yeah, just have a blocker. I really would have liked to see Lorite finish that game off. Just saying.
Personally.
Personally, I would have preferred Lorite.
Yeah. Wouldn't we all?
Let's win the first ever WGPQ by poking for 1. Wait, hear me out.
Hear me out.
21 damage with an Ultra Awakening on
Oh,
Lorite.
oh my god. You can't do this to me.
I forgot it. I have. It's like a lot of stuff I can't have. I can have pencils, but I can't have like.
So So it's a question of whether or not. So having tried to go on the. Okay, so let me ask this: why do you think there was the decision to go on the draw for Cal
Probably to get the energized mana to try and go super fast.
and have 7 cards? 7 cards in hand.
Just more cards, see more stuff, go super fast.
Let's look at the lists here real quick.
Oh yeah, I didn't look at anybody's lists.
Well, Cal's list is a hodgepodge because of being IU. Cal's got a lot of decisions to make. So let's look at Cal's sideboard. Cal's sideboard is Scalding Breath, Miscalculation, Destruction at the Portal, Black Tears, Lightning Shield, Power of the Emperor, Blood Ritual, Evil Elemental Uprising, that comes in, Hoel Pig, Spirit Searching, Invitation, which is a search for anything, Scarlet's Agony, Last Days of a Powerless Dragonoid, False Peace, and Sword of the New Moon. False Peace maybe comes in just for like some draw power and also like if I can't quite poke you to death. Miscalculation is irrelevant. Destruction of the Portal maybe. Lightning Shield doesn't do anything here. Like, do you just bring in all of the IU pumps? Like, every possible pump for IU? That might be the play line. Let's look at Ryan's real quick. Ryan Miles. 3 Rachels. Ooh. Okay, 2... I don't know what that card is.
What did
2
I do?
Arrow Trap. 2 Destruction of the Portal. 2 Black Tears. 1... Oh, it's Scarlet's Agony. I don't know how you get Scarlet's Agony of what's written there. 1 Fairy Spell, 1 One and Only, and 1 Spirit Stone. So I think the Spirit Stone comes in. Hear me out, because they went up the draw power and we just replaced the Speaker Stone with it. Because the stories aren't nearly as effective in this matchup. So you don't really need as much black.
But the Speaking Stone does have Barrier.
Why do you care about that?
Mosasaurus.
Why would you care about that as Ryan Miles playing Time Spinning Witch?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Cal.
No, I'm talking about Ryan.
Okay, yeah, probably. Okay.
So 2 Scarlet's Agony come in. This Pharaoh's Spell probably comes in.
Okay.
And the Spirit Stone probably comes in for Ryan.
I can see that. Wait, what did I do? I take credit for nothing.
It was Charlie. Charlie gave him the breakthrough by losing.
Yeah, it was me. I'm the reason he's in the finals.
Even though you two have not seen each other all tournament.
I played Ryan once
Did you?
at Worlds 2017.
Other than that.
And we've never played again.
This should be interesting. We'll have to see how it goes. Cal choosing to take the draw again. Charlie's the protagonist.
The protagonist. I can't be the protagonist. Not allowed.
Hey there, Travis. IU has her own Ultra Awakening spell, but it's not nearly as good.
End of possession.
Yeah, we talked about that before. There's that Spirit Stone. Called it. Oh, sweet. There's really no reason for you to not. It's just a free card draw. It's actually great for Ryan to see that turn 1, too, because turn 1 and that into Idol is actually a great. White Stone off the top for Cal. I mean, White's in there, right? But we need blue sources. It's usually best to do like blue 1, white 2, or white 1, blue 2.
Judgment. God's Art. Resuscitating.
It's fine. It'll be the last card of his deck. That'll be the way the game.
Easy.
We were doing some play testing on Friday, and the first 3 games we played with Dell, his God Arts were the last card in his deck, the second to last card in his deck, and the third last card in his deck.
He just needs to know what cards to call better. Like, honestly, it has to be his fault.
Clearly. And then he wondered why I was shuffling his deck, like whenever he was doing stuff. He's like, "But we're testing," and I'm like, "Yeah, but you're IU, so this is actually relevant. You need to be useful. You need to be used to what you might be milling away." Double Speaking Stone here is kind of awful, but does get the Angel off of it. So now he essentially just paid 2 to ramp into a Ruler's Memoria, which is fine. And then he's just going to Distortion of Time with it. That's perfect. So this, not Rulers. This statue was played very heavily in Cluster before rotation. And because in Cluster they did some weird stuff in Italy for Scheherazade. But with Scheherazade gone, this card is insanely strong for Time Spinning Witch because it's just a stone. It's just a free stone every turn. And the reason why you didn't play it in the Scheherazade meta was because Scheherazade had Cleaning Doll, so Cleaning Doll just popped it and then got to use one of their Cleaning Doll just popped it and got to use one of their stories again.
Uh-huh.
So now that that's not there, and just there's really not a lot of addition hate in the meta. Just like it's just not fast. It's just not.
Yeah,
sorry, let me
really-
say that it's just not utilitarian enough against the field to be like
Yeah.
maining this. The time spinning just gets to stick these statues and idols for as long as they want.
Yeah, the only thing that main decks addition hate would be.
Blue leaf.
Ooh,
Hard
see
casting.
if you can tell me what deck main decks edition hate.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, tell me.
Deck main decks edition.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Runehild.
Oh, that's true. Because in their rune deck,
Yeah.
potentially if they're playing Dispel. So just a blue leaf and pass for Cal. So pretty slow start. And Ryan sitting at 4 will on his 3rd turn. Beyond the threshold, the time comes in. Gets a free stone off of it. I think this is probably the turn to play it, especially since it ramps him into a different stone, because he's still sitting at 3 will on Cal's turn because of time spinning witch and the statue.
Where's the well, baby?
Another time stone. That's not good for Cal. He needs those 5 color stones.
Yeah. Oh yeah, get that poke damage.
1 damage.
Blue leaf on the offensive.
The number of times that I've been hit by his lowly spirit bug with as an IU, playing against an IU player is insane. That 1 damage, man, you gotta get it.
Dude, just get him.
I using the lead, blue leaf for game. Blue leaf ultra awakening for game. Got him.
Dude, that's 21 damage.
No,
That's over half your life. You can just do it again the next turn. Broken.
because you can cycle it back into your deck.
Exactly. You need to search for it.
Wait a minute, this is a go.
God.
Another speaker stone here, sitting at 2 water sources, 3 wind sources, but one of them is spirit stone, which he wanted to see. So it's essentially just another card. It's a
39 turn clock.
Blue leaf ultra awakening, resuscitate.
Got our
Got a
resuscitate.
resuscitating will for game.
We actually were debating boarding a white stone and boarding resuscitating the one
Just so you
flourishing
could
hope.
Just so you could finish it.
Yeah. We ended up not doing it, but
Mosasaurus coming down here to say if you tap those stone. I think it's just to play the body.
Mosa targeting blue leaf. Dude, he needs the threat off the board.
Oh, so he did. Oh, he distortioned. So if Cal taps those stones at all this turn, they won't recover during the next turn. He did the time distortion walk, like during the upkeep time distortion, then hardcast Mosasaurus. And so the way that works, I will go over it one more time. So the way it works is Mosasaurus says during the next recovery phase, stuff doesn't recover. Time Spinning Witch says they skip their next recovery phase. So they have to hit a recovery phase for Mosasaurus' lock to come off of them. And because Time Spinning Witch says they don't get it, they actually double skip. So Ryan's sitting here at 7 will against IU.
Also, he has 2 time stones now, so he can do
Double flip.
flip
Now,
distortion.
and then
or double God's Art. Yeah.
double God Art. And the other thing is, too, is Time Spinning, which is
On
a
the following
flyer.
turn.
Time Spinning, which is a blue flyer, so it can block an IU swing for 1,200 damage.
Yeah.
That's actually-
Well, Aerial recover next turn. Yeah.
Right. Charlie's mic is a bit muffled.
Oh, excellent.
Ryan better reset the game.
Yeah, 68 minutes left.
That's the time.
Boom. You're not going to win now.
So overnight, thank you for the suggestion. We will work on doing some improvement to the splash page below. We do have a lot of people also watching on YouTube currently. Lorite 7 Disciples coming in.
Oof. Give it that swiftness. Get in there for another 7, so minus 22.
Oh, did he hit? Did
He
hit
swung with Mosa,
So
yeah.
30, 10 to 25. Then another 7. So that's 32, 22 damage, so down to 18.
Yep.
So representing lethal on board next turn when he only has 3 stones to be able to work with.
And if he taps them now, they don't recover.
During the end phase. And a Scarlet's
And an
Agony. I think that's probably just it.
So one more time. So Chrono Break, the Goddard on Chrono Break says that your opponent skips their next recovery phase. When you play Mosasaurus, it says during your opponent's next recovery phase, the stones do not tap. So Distortion of Time will skip their recovery phase, so Mosa's blanket effect will not trigger. And then on the next recovery phase that they actually hit, Mosa's effects will trigger.
So then they get to then skip that recovery.
Yeah, then their stones don't recover.
Correct. Special power medicine.
I think he's gonna.
He's just gonna judgment here. I think that's. I mean, I think that's actually the only play he has.
Yeah. Huh. I think
You
he still loses here, though.
with yeah, most likely.
So he goes to he triggers, gets that right.
Unless
Ryan
he writes the trigger.
Yeah, unless he decides to lower at the trigger. So use the energize.
Tries to find a Lorite. I think. Oh, he's letting it happen.
No. So Mosa's effect at the turn you play it is a targeted effect, which will target the stones, and then it basically puts a blanket effect on top of the stones that quote unquote triggers. Yeah, it's not really considered a trigger; it's a blanket effect.
I would love to put the Mosasaurus image up, but I unfortunately don't have it. It's one of the weird cards that I apparently don't have. I apologize. I can try to find the full art of it real quick.
You have the full art of dinosaur surfacing.
I have the full art of dinosaur surfacing again. I do not have the full art of Mosasaurus. I apologize, guys. I don't know why that's one that I don't have. Discard the hand size, discards the ray.
So he has to. He just swings in, and he has to. I guess he can block with blue. No, because he just DLBs.
Is that a second Lorite 7 Disciples? It's a distortion of time.
So here, because he's stuck on blue. So here Ryan just wants to try and punch in. So he wants to punch in with Mosa, and if he decides to block with blue leaf, you DLB it.
Don't you just do double flip Goddard to lock him at double blue so he can't resuscitating will? And then you have time suiting which to send
Well,
them
you
off?
do that after you do attacks.
Right.
Yeah.
To potentially force
Yeah,
him
yeah.
to stay sitting down.
Yeah.
I see my Twitch following over on YouTube. My YouTube following has followed me over to Twitch. Good old Pasta Pilot.
Pasta pilot.
Will there be any new Valhalla tournaments anytime soon? Probably the easiest way to see a new Valhalla tournament will be once the second set comes out. Because the format with just one set is a little wonky.
Look at Worlds.
Go watch Worlds. Yeah, Judgment. Yep, double time.
Goddard.
He's already done the Goddard. The first Goddard has been done, so now he can access the second Goddard.
Yeah. Oh, he did the flip before attacks. Okay.
Right. So swinging in, I think, 7
What
in the
a-
air. Or maybe 9 on the ground.
This guy loves hurting me.
Arrival of the hero for free.
Ooh.
Fair spell,
Fair
the arrival
spell.
of the hero.
Yep.
Potentially. Fair spell, the arrival of the hero. Sitting at 18 life here.
Very 10 point.
So that's looking like it's going to resolve.
That's how it resolves. I think Cal's just looking death in the face and
Blocking with Ayu. Blocking with Ayu here would essentially seal the fate of this game. Yep, that's game. Unless there's not another distortion engrave.
he has one in hand.
Yeah, no, that's unfortunate. Blocking with that Ayu just is now it's game. Because Moza can swing comfortably and just like stop the block.
Oh, there is one engraved. Oh, I guess he already cast it. Sorry, Cal. Glimpse of Kagu.
Yeah, Cal just
there
knows
it
he can't
is.
do it there.
Yeah.
So Ryan Miles survives, beats his plot armor. Let's get Ryan to come over here. Ryan, it is your first ever for the 2019 competitive season WGPQ champion. Congrats. So we'll get him over here in just a second for you guys and have a little talk.
I'm so cute.
Well, hello, my friend. How are you?
Hello, how's it going? This is the special episode of Roller School.
Ruler School Teachers Lounge featuring
Yeah.
Jeremy Franklin and always, as always, the beautiful Ryan.
As always, the beautiful, the wonderful, the champion.
So, yeah, how you feeling, bud?
Oh, yeah, it feels pretty good. I'm kind of upset that I split because I was terrified of Chimimi, but like, I really thought that I would get clapped by Chimimi. I almost did, like you saw in the stream run too. Yeah, it's just it feels good. Paid invite, going back to Worlds.
Yeah, right.
Not having to worry about that.
So that just means the rest of your season you're just going to play silly stuff, right?
No, I'm gonna crush everybody. No, maybe we'll see. We'll see. I think this deck was kind of silly, but it was just too many people thought they weren't allowed. Too many people thought they didn't have to play green anymore, and they were punished for it by me. It was a good time.
So, let's talk a little bit about Time Spinning Witch and just your decision to maybe play that list.
Right.
As opposed to today. We've talked about it a lot
Yep.
in terms of like you have to play green in some capacity, but Time Spinning Witch is really good and the great equalizer against the matchup, but then there's Gil and yada yada yada. So what eventually put you on Time Spinning Witch?
It's just broken. Like your opponent ever makes a misstep and they tap out, and then you just like lock them one time. Like people think like, oh, like okay, I can't stop the Mosasaurus right now, so if he Mosasauruses me, it's not a big deal. I only untap one time. But it's like the distortion into Mosasaurus and the Mosasaurus and distortion at time, like that just like chain thing where like you just, and the fact that you can do distortion time at instant speed, it's like against all the aggro decks, they'll like play aggro stuff. And whatnot.
That was
and
the
then,
thing that we were seeing a lot.
Yeah.
I think that was the thing that I didn't really think about, and hands down to you for figuring out that play line and being very creative with that, is that like during upkeep distortion of time into then immediately a Mosasaurus.
Yeah.
Just so you get an extra swing of Mosasaurus time.
It's also like they have to fight over the distortion. Like the distortion time is the backbreaker. Like
Sure.
Mosasaurus is pretty annoying because it like becomes a 15-10, but like distortion time means you can't call a stone.
Right.
And that's like even worse when I'm in a deck that's constantly attacking your mana. So when you distortion time before untap, that's the thing they have to fight over.
Right.
And then they tap their mana, like, because people leave mana open against you all the time. So distortion time for untap is how you get them to tap out, and then you untap and just Mosasaurus them. And they're like,
Right.
I just tapped all this mana to not get distortion, but now I'm still tapped out, and then you follow up with another Mosasaurus. Like, I'm playing the full 8 dinosaurs. I'm
Right.
4 Dino Awakening, 4 Mosasaurus, because, like, the Italians, a lot of the other lists are only playing, like, 2 and 3, or, like, 3 and 2, and I'm like, I just want to play Dino Awakening, Mosasaurus, Dino Awakening, I just want to play them all the time.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and even if you lure the Mosasaurus, you have a 15-10, and that will
it's
end
still
the game in
definitely
2
a body.
turns.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I think kind of in terms of we've seen an iteration of Time Spinning Witch in the past. We've seen kind of this is like the next step in the evolution.
Yeah.
So when you were doing the testing and stuff, like how did like testing and evolving it into this state, like what do you think brought it to where it is now?
So I pretty much just like built Time Spinning from scratch, just going off what was good order format, and then you threw in Viola because it punishes Forest Meditation, it punishes Gil trying to get back Lorite, it gives your Mosasaurus flying, which is like good for closing out games. Plus like the typical like Mosasaurus into like flip your ruler Mosasaurus. That's only 38 damage with 2 swings of Mosasaurus. So like the extra 2 is sometimes relevant, especially like getting flying in there. You saw a lot of old lists like playing optional possession for that reason.
Sure.
But yeah, I just want, like, most of it is just very, very standard, I would say. It's like 4 Idol of Magic, 4 Dino Awakening, 4 Mosasaurus, 4 Distortion of Time, and then, like, the tech cards are, like, the Viola because it's broken, Lorite's Disciples because, like, that just blows out the aggro matchup.
Yeah, it's a great card.
Like, because, like, sometimes they yes, Jeremy, Lorite's Disciples is a good card in Time Spinning, which you got me. I'm not going to do that. Ultra Awakening is a terrible card. Anyone that played that in Gil, like, probably just deserves to lose in top 8 or something. I don't know. But yeah, so it's like, Lorite's Disciples, like, sometimes aggro, like, they have a pretty annoying board to deal with.
Sure.
So, like, you distortion them so their creatures stay tapped, and then you get a turn to, like, play Lorite's Lorite's Disciples is really good because you can, like, play it the same turn that you distortion. Like,
Sure.
you go Mosasaurus on 5, they, like, don't untap, only kill you with what's on board. Then you go, like, 6 mana, Distortion of Time, God's Art, plus Lorite's Disciples.
Right.
Kill their guy, go back up in life, hit them with a Mosasaurus. Like, I play a lot of board control when, like,
Sure.
things were tapped down instead of, like, going face all the time. But, like, Lord's Disciples is just a 7/7 with swiftness that then gets drained, helps you stabilize life total. And then the Koga, the Secret Village Koga, I think the Europeans are also on this as well because I was kind of talking with, like, Ben Bargetzi about it and, like, JPK, and we were, like, comparing, like, ideas. We both just had the same idea naturally. It just helps you win those grindier matchups like Gil.
Sure.
And then, like, I side in the Rachels against Lucifer just in case, like, sometimes discard decks just, like, discard all your dinosaurs and you can't keep them tapped down as much as you need to.
Right.
But when you have Rachel, you just never run out of cards, you never run out of dinosaurs, and then you get to, like, use Koga to flicker them forever. So Koga lets you apply more instant speed pressure on mana bases because
Sure.
you can do Distortion Time before untap, bring back Mosasaurus before untap. Like, it's just kind of disgusting.
Right, absolutely. So then, speaking to the not just the Time Spinning Witch, but stepping out in terms of the meta as a whole. So we had 84 players show up today. We had like 16 different decks that were represented in varying amounts, and then in top 8 we had 5 different rulers, and then in top 4 we had 4 different rulers.
Yep.
So like, having been playing Forcible for a very long time,
I'm an
what's
old
your
man.
kind of thought about like the format where it is, the openness of the format, and where like maybe in the next month or so before we get this next set, how do you think that like shapes up? How do you think that maybe changes, or what kind of contributes to what we have now?
Right. So I don't really know how to fix this problem, but I stand by what I said before. You should not be playing a deck that does not play green right now because, like, you cannot be Time Spinning Witch. I think that, like, I'm probably very, very experienced on the deck compared to other players because I was messing with this back when Scheherazade was still the best deck. So, like, I know how to, like you said, like the Mosasaurus line. Not everyone knows that. Like, I was playing in the finals and I like Distortion Mosasaurus. He's like, this, I don't untap twice, right? And it's like, yeah, like that's like one of my most like standard lines. I think it's got like that low skill floor, high skill ceiling kind of thing. Where there's like a lot of like minute plays you have to worry about, and that's just like an example of one. I think there's a lot of other ones too. So when people test against Time Spinning Witch, like, oh, okay, sometimes I can beat them because sometimes they let me untap, but like really, like a good consistent Time Spinning Witch deck will never let you untap
Once
because
it starts.
they will kill you with Mosasauruses by the time you get to that point. And like the only decks that can stop that or interact with it at all are decks that play Lorite.
Sure.
Like blue can have Keys' Call, so you don't get Mosasaurus, but like the Distortion of Times, not calling a stone is the real backbreaker.
Right, absolutely.
So I think it's really cool that the meta was diverse, but I really believe that you have to play green.
Some
like
kind
strongly.
of shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So how do you think this maybe potentially either changes that you would make to your own deck or changes that you would see in these other splash green decks? Or maybe even some of your thoughts about hypothetical decks that aren't playing green now that you think could splash into it?
Yeah, I think that Green-Black Lucifer is the deck that no one knows about.
Sure.
Like, I think that you can play like 4 Greenstones and Lucifer and then play like a bunch of black runes and then play like Azazels and discard and Rachel and Spirit Village Koga and like have some good time just being this grindy deck. The problem is like you don't win very fast, so like you have to kind of.
I mean, it's the control issue, right?
Yeah, it's like your 2 colors, so sometimes you get clapped by aggro. But like people shouldn't be playing aggro decks because you auto lose to time spinning witch.
Right.
So it's kind of. I'm not really sure like what people are doing. Like Americans love their aggro decks, so we'll always play aggro. But I think if you want to play aggro, just play Jamimi because Jamimi is super, super good in my opinion.
Is there anything that you would, after having walked out of this event, in terms of sideboard or main board, that you would think you would change? I mean, obviously it doesn't really matter because you won, so that doesn't really. But like, is there anything where you're like, well, if I was going to take this deck and bring it to the next step, bring it to the next grade,
right?
Like, what do you think like didn't do so well that you think could be looked at to be potentially changed, either main or sideboard?
I don't know. I feel like I predicted to see more mirror matches. And I like the 2 Kogas main board like don't really help against like aggressive decks. And like you could probably like if you like it really just depends on the meta you expect, right?
Sure.
So if I expect people to start playing a lot of green decks, then like stuff like that gets worse. I don't want Disciples as much. I want like Rachel. I want to play like grindier games, where I'm like doing more things that you need to lorite, like searching my deck with Rachel or like removing Mosasaurus with Koga and stuff like that. Like the weakness of green decks is that they only have 4 lorite. Right. So like you should be running like 10 of that card because it's just like you need that many copies. And that's why like Gil's like kind of a tough matchup some of the time. But yeah, I really like I think that like the meta was, I called the meta correct. It was just a bunch of red decks, and then I just I 2-0'd every red deck I played against. Yeah, I think that my deck covered the spread well enough. I think the deck should gravitate towards green, but I don't think it will. So I would just keep it the way it is, honestly.
Sweet. Excellent. Well, again, congratulations
thank you very much.
We'll see you back at Japan 2019 already.
Awesome.
Now you can just spend the rest of your time having fun for the rest of the season. So
absolutely.
Thank you guys so much, and thank you guys for joining us. Huge thanks to Force of Will TCG, the company, for sending us out here to be able to bring this to you guys. We will have hopefully more announcements in terms of what the next WGPQ is soon. We'll be trying to stream those as much as possible. But until then, thanks you guys so much for watching on stream and on Twitch, and we'll see you guys next time. So.